wherever you scroll.
Good evening, ABC News. I'm Susie Rains. The Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has again called for a significant reduction in the number of Australians who are allowed to return home from overseas. National Cabinet will meet tomorrow and debate whether to lower the caps on arrivals. It follows concern about several recent outbreaks across Australia that have been linked to international travel and hotel quarantine breaches. Mr Andrews says he wants the cap on returning travellers lowered by as much as 80% to help prevent further lockdowns.
While you've got a much more infectious strain becoming the dominant strain across the world, and we don't have enough people vaccinated right here at home, that means we've got to make some difficult choices, and it won't be easy to lock some people out, but locking some people out is much better than locking everybody down.
New South Wales has recorded 24 new local cases of COVID-19, and it's been revealed a person who visited Sydney's largest vaccination hub has tested positive to the virus. Tony Ibrahim reports.
A person who visited the Sydney Olympic Park Vaccination Centre on June 29 tested positive for coronavirus the next day. The incident has set off a frenzy to limit the possible exposure of the virus to others visiting the largest vaccination hub in the state. New South Wales Health says it's contacting people who attended the centre on June 29 from 3:30 to 5 p.m. They're asking them to get tested and self-isolate. The centre remains open after being thoroughly cleaned, but the health authority is advising people with any symptoms to stay home.
There were no new local cases of COVID-19 reported in Victoria today. WA and South Australia also had 0 new cases. There were 2 reported in Queensland, 1 in the Northern Territory. China's President Xi Jinping says China's national renaissance is irreversible in a speech marking the centenary of the Chinese Communist Party. Addressing massed ranks in Tiananmen Square, President Xi says the party has transformed the future of the Chinese people and altered the landscape of world development. But he also had this warning for China's detractors.
The Chinese people will never allow any foreign forces to bully, oppress or enslave them. Anyone who dares try that will have their heads bashed bloody against the Great Wall of Steel forged by over 1.4 billion Chinese people.
Thailand's tourism industry has received a much-needed boost with the arrival of the first foreign visitors to the island of Phuket in more than a year. Southeast Asia correspondent Zoe Ford reports.
3 flights with almost 250 fully vaccinated holidaymakers have landed on Thailand's biggest island, Phuket. The passengers from Abu Dhabi, Qatar and Tel Aviv have been spared hotel quarantine, but must remain on the island for up to 2 weeks, wear masks and take 3 COVID tests. 75% of Phuket's population has been vaccinated in readiness. The local economy depends on tourism and took a big hit when Thailand shut its borders at the start of the pandemic. Zoe Ford, ABC News, Bangkok.
A European Union-wide QR-coded COVID-19 vaccine passport comes into force from today. The BBC's Bethany Bell reports.
Travel during the pandemic has been complicated, involving entry forms and tests and vaccination certificates issued in a variety of different languages, which airline and border control staff can't always understand. The EU's new digital COVID certificate aims to streamline things. It's a document with a QR code which you can print or download on your phone. The certificates, which are issued by national authorities, are recognised across the EU. There are hopes that other countries will also be able to participate in the scheme.
A judge in the United States has refused Britney Spears' request to have her father removed from her conservatorship. The global pop star has been under the legal arrangement since she suffered a mental health breakdown in 2008. Last week, Ms. Spears told a Los Angeles judge that she was made to take lithium against her will and was prohibited from removing a birth control device. Her father, Jamie Spears, says he wants an investigation into the claim she was denied the ability to make her own medical decisions. In sport, the Socceroos have been handed a tough draw for the final group stage of Asian qualifying. Australia will take on Asia's top-ranked side, Japan, along with Saudi Arabia, China, Oman and Vietnam in Group B of the Asian qualifiers. The top 2 nations will advance to the 2022 FIFA World Cup, while third place will enter the playoff rounds. To the weather, there's a strong wind warning for the west coast of the state, mostly cloudy around Victoria with isolated showers. Mostly clear for Melbourne tonight with showers increasing tomorrow and a top of 15 degrees. ABC News.
What do you think makes someone an Australian of the Year?
It's people who show courage, sacrifice and kindness.
Now's the time to reflect.
On your community.
And who you admire.
Now's the time to respect.
By nominating and acknowledging them.
Now's the time to celebrate.
Their story, their contribution and their generosity.
I'm Hamish McDonald and I'd love you to nominate an inspirational Australian who you think is worthy at australianoftheyear.org.au.
ABC Sport. AFL.
Get set for the deafening roar. The pent-up emotion is about to flow. Listen to the crowd roar.
AFL.
Fans are on their feet. Can't believe what they're about to see.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Grandstand AFL.
We've got a game on our hands here. This is really good, fierce stuff.
This is a fantastic game of football.
Someone told me there was something wrong with our game. I can't see it today. Actually, it's a spectacular contest.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Oh, the impossible angle.
Sinners, keep on sinning.
Don't go anywhere. The theatre of it all.
Winners, keep on winning.
And he dribbles one through and blows a kiss to the crowd.
Just a new day beginning.
Breaks the pace, has a shot, makes no mistake.
Sends it for home, a sublime strike.
Hard against the boundary, that's the classy finish. That is sensational. Can he slide it through for the finish? Yes, he can.
Wide angle on the paint of 50. May have just snuck through an incredible goal. Tries the fend off, got him, takes him to ground. Back to that Nui, second don't argue.
Go to your best players, go to your match winners.
Plays on Mark down from behind, holding the ball.
Perfect tackle. It might be a game saver.
Dreamers, keep on dreaming.
Ricochets to Martin, you know the rest. The razzle dazzle has arrived.
That is spectacular.
It's a new day, new day, new day beginning.
On the boot, kicks the goal. Welcome to the big time.
Oh, great mark.
Outside of the boot, Eddie. Oh, he has kicked it. Makes no mistake. Goes back.
Straightens up towards goal and brings it back superbly. Here's that familiar roar. Double fist salute to the crowd. They might have a new fan favourite. He'll snap, he'll go. A ripper from Gripper. Snaps on the single step and bends it through.
Grandstand AFL.
The 2021 AFL Premiership Season.
Dribbles it through and ends the game.
On ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
In 2020, it was the COVID capital of Australia, but the heartland of the game of Australian rules is the lifeline for the AFL in round 16 of the AFL Premiership season. It's Richmond and Gold Coast here at Docklands. The roof is open tonight as all 18 teams currently in Melbourne tonight. 8 of the 9 games currently scheduled to take place in the state of Victoria. A brutal reminder this week with almost 11 million people across the country locked down that the pandemic isn't over, but hopefully a distraction for you across the weekend to follow along with the footy. Corbin Middlemass alongside Matt Clinch to call all the action. It is a Gold Coast Suns home game here tonight at Docklands. Damien Hardwick said last time out he hated coming here to the Docklands. They're back again. Richmond after that victory over the Giants a few weeks ago. Many have written them off during the week, trying to keep their bid for a three-peat alive. So as a result, we've got a lot of red and yellow and blue accent right across the ground tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing the trumpet after a Suns goal. A rare home game here at Docklands. Matt Clinch is alongside me. G'day, Clinchy.
Hello, Corby, and good evening to our listeners. Adam Ramanassis got in your head right from the outset. He said, come on, Corby, big night, Thursday night footy. And Richmond and the Gold Coast Suns, it's probably not the blockbuster which the AFL might have scheduled at the start of the season, but there's enough in it. The Tigers with their lowest score in 60 years last week against the Saints, so all of a sudden there's a bit of pressure on the reigning premiers to show their best. Tom Lynch returns alongside David Asprey, and the Gold Coast Suns, well, they haven't exactly found their rhythm or their improvement from last season, so all of a sudden there's a bit of pressure on Stuart Dew, and we get to see a rematch of the Sam Collins and Tom Lynch battle in the middle of the ground. Potentially the Suns might be able to match it if the Tigers don't bring their best. So we'll try and find a couple of things to keep you engaged with tonight.
You gave me one piece of advice, Rummy. You just said, look, don't stuff it up. Hosting tonight, Thursday night footy to start the round.
Did.
I thought, look, I'm not going to pre-prepare too much. I'm not going to have sort of long-winded scripted opener. Just a couple of things jotted down, and just as I was coming out of it, tripped on the word lifeline. So thanks very much for the warm welcome tonight.
Got in his head.
Firstly, good evening. Look, we all make mistakes, and the very best make mistakes, which you are, Corbs. So we'll forgive you this once only. But I think it's a really important night for Gold Coast. A Thursday night game. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on TVs watching them tonight. They lose last week against North Melbourne. Cameron Ling last week on the lead said it was the 6 most important days of the Gold Coast life as a football club. So they failed Test 1, now it's Test 2 against the Tigers. Now the Tigers, they're not going well. And for the first time in a long time, hearing Damien Hardwick talk after the game, you can hear the concern in his voice. He's not sure. In the past, when they've been in these situations, there's still a lot of positivity in his words. I think for the first time in probably 4 years, there's some level of uncertainty at Richmond.
Triple premiership winning Carlton champ Mark McClure's here with us. G'day, Sellers.
Hello, mate. How are you going?
Very well.
I'm trying to find some interest in this game, and I do find a little bit of interest in this game because we've all talked about the Suns, and they've been in the competition now 11 years. 11 years, not one time have they featured in the finals. When I look back to the Brisbane Bears days, the old Brisbane Bears and Lions, they played in the grand final in their 14th year and won it. 14 years in with a whole lot of different coaches, a whole lot of different players, and it took till they got Gubby Allen and Lee Matthews to get it right. Is it players or is it coaches in this business? And I think that the biggest thing for me is that the Gold Coast Sun need players. They need some players, and they need a good recruiting guy to actually pick them up and get them up there, because it's difficult to put people on the Gold Coast. It's like a city without a soul to me, the Gold Coast, in some ways. And so that's a difficult part. But they've been there 11 years now. It's time. It's time to start to stand up. I know it's not easy. I know everyone knows it's not easy up there. But there is some things that have gone wrong and are still going wrong. They've only won 4 games. I don't know how many they've won in the last 2 years. Is it 8? Or 9?
They won 5 last year.
Yeah, 9. Yep. So they've won 9 in nearly a year and a half, or year and 2, a little bit over that. That's not enough for it to stand up. But I'm actually more worried about the Tigers. Who tell me who's ever won a premiership at 7-7 in this competition at round 15 or 16? Tell me who has. And you can't find one. And they're still telling us that they can. Well, I don't think they can. And I'm pretty certain that they're thinking they can't win either. And I know. And to me, I love the way they've played. They've been brilliant, great. But people work you out. And every week, the opposition's grand final is against Richmond.
They hunt you.
And they wear you down. And in the end, they're injured, they're hurt, they're broken. They just don't have the people on the park as they've had at the past. So we expect what we expect and see what we get. And what is real is the scoreboard and what you see out there on every night. Last week was real. 2 goals, that was real. And so to me, it's interesting how people still stand there and say, oh, no, we can still do this, we can still do this. Can you? Happened to Brisbane. They fell off the perch too. Remember when 203, 204, gone. See you later, all over. Geelong fell over a little bit. And then all of a sudden you get to, now the Tigers are. It happens. It happened to us after winning 3 and 4. We start to fall off the perch because you get tired, you get worn out, you get bruised, you get hurt. It's interesting. See what happens.
So are you expecting a spike tonight from Richmond?
Well, I expect them to beat Gold Coast, but I don't expect them to win the premiership.
The response will be interesting. If it's a hard, heavy-hitting Richmond of old, well, I think Damien Hardwick will still know he's got some energy left in the group. But if it's a tight, dour, boring affair, I think there'll be more questions for Dimmer again.
Health is a problem now for the Tigers.
Are they a hard-hitting side, though? I mean, are Richmond? I don't think they are. I think they're a hard-running side.
They pressure
hard running side.
They pressure the ball carrier of the opposition more than anybody when they're at their best. When they're at their best, they make the opposition turn the ball over through pressure.
6 changes for the Tigers. So Prestia, Lambert, Broad, Bolter, Mansell and Ryan are the 6 who go out. 4 through injury, the last 2 omitted. And then Lynch, Asprey, Ross, Naish, Collier, Dawkins and Dow, the 6 that come in. Thompson, Dow, the medical sub for Richmond, while for the Gold Coast they've made 4 changes. Anderson and Smith both out injured. Greenwood's been managed, so arguably been their best player this year, Hugh Greenwood, big out. That's Caleb Graham's been dropped. McPherson's the sub. Swallow, Collins and Burgess come in. So the 2 begins there, as Clinchy touched on off the top. We get the Lynch and Collins match up after so much spice last time around.
I'm interested, Sellers, to see what Richmond does now with Noah Bolter out of the team. Obviously, he came in to replace Rance, plays in a premiership last year. But in saying that, Richmond were able to win that premiership in 19. I think it was 19, wasn't it, without Rance? Yes.
Yep.
And they didn't bring in another key defender. They just adjusted. Asprey comes back into the team tonight, so now they'll expect Dylan Grimes to play taller. I just wonder how teams can attack that. I think teams have really attacked Richmond's backline. That's been one of their great strengths because the way they combine, they drop off. But teams are now making them defend one-on-one.
Yeah, they make them defend one-on-one because they chip pass through them. That's what they're trying to do. But they're a small defence without Bolter there. If you have a look at them, Asprey's pretty tall. Short's not tall. None of them are tall, really. Baker's not tall. Grimes is not. He's 6'2". And then you've got Vlastoon. I mean, he's only 6'1".
And Hooley.
The whole thing. And Hooley, that's a very small defensive area when you think about it. And not many of them can actually defend one-on-one. Hooley doesn't defend one-on-one. Baker doesn't defend one-on-one. Short doesn't. He runs away. So if they chip pass through them, which has been proven in most games, we saw Sydney do it against them at the MCG and destroyed them by the little chip pass through. And the young side, if they actually do that, they could pick them apart quite comfortably.
It'll be interesting. The Gold Coast Suns don't have Zach Smith, so Sam Day will do a fair bit of ruck work, so it means their forward line is really Corbett and King.
Yeah.
And they probably could have stretched Richmond a little bit more had they gone with a taller forward line. The other part for the Tigers is their forward pressure. Can they find that with all of a sudden Tom Lynch back in, Jack Revolt? They've got their 2 key pillars, but that's been the most noticeable difference. They've won just 1 of the last 7 weeks, the contested possession, the Tigers. So much of it is built around that contested work and the ability to place pressure on opposition.
Yeah, but they score with rebound, really, from half-back, turnover from half-back and rebound off the half-back line. And when you kick it long, they actually belt you up. They punch it away. But I'm not so certain they got the big pillars there to do it. And Bolter's a big loss for him because he's actually a pretty handy player.
You touched a little bit on the Suns. Rama, how much pressure is Stewart due under at the moment? So his winning record's at 21%, 16 wins, 58 losses and a draw in their last 75 games. They had the week where they copped the national focus and then they went out and dished that up against North Melbourne last week, and they were close in the end and had their chances down the stretch, but they were beaten up in a lot of the key categories.
Yeah, I don't think he's under pressure to keep his job, but I think we need to start identifying what the Suns are.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
That's his job, and I know he's trying extremely hard to extract that out of this group. But in saying that, it's got to be the leaders of the Gold Coast Suns that stand up and become recognisable for something. Yeah. Otherwise, we just stay in the washing machine. Just keeps going in a vicious cycle around and around and around.
Hey, Corb, to answer your question, no one lasts long at 21%.
Yeah,
no one.
But they can't swap again. They've had Guy McKenna, they've had Rodney Eade.
Yeah, but
they're 11 years in.
Yeah, well, so what?
Had a better winning percentage under McKenna. He was at 27%, Eade at 25. And they just, you talk about the washing machine, just perpetually stayed young. So they're the youngest or second youngest team in the competition. 10 of the 11 years they played. The only outlier they were the third youngest.
Yeah, but who wants to stay, Corb? Who wants to stay in the Gold Coast? Tell me.
So is that's the out, that they're young. But it's got to change. I would love to see them recruit some older players, some older experienced leaders. Rock the place up a little bit.
Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure throughout the night. Corbin Middlemass and Matt Clench on the boundary for us. Rolling out the big guns for Thursday night footy most of the weekend here in Melbourne. Tim Hodges is with us. Good evening, Hodgie.
Hello, Corbin. Hello, fellas. Nice to be with you. Hey, a positive start for the Gold Coast Suns. David Swallow back in the team. He's won the toss. The Suns will kick to the Coventry end. That's the right of the screen if you're watching at home on the telly listening to us. The roof is open and it looks magnificent. It's a beautiful, cool winter's night. Still 14 degrees. No rain, thankfully. The ground will be dewy a little bit later on, so it probably will be quite slippery. No late changes. The medical sub for the Suns, Darcy McPherson. For the Tigers, Thomas Dow. I think the crowd, guys, will be the big talking point. We know there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in the country. It was a late call just to have this game here. We know the coach doesn't like coming across town to the Docklands. The Tigers were woeful last week, but still, this is an alarmingly small crowd. The AFL expecting 12,500. I don't think we'd be anywhere near that at the moment.
Round 16 to start at Docklands. Gold Coast hosting Richmond on Grandstand AFL. You with Matt Clinch.
Burgess and Joel to get things underway. Opening tap came down the way of Trent Cotchin, who got it to Bolton. Richmond into attack in a flash. Long to Lynch. 2-on-1 and great work.
That was a good mark.
Ballard positioned himself in front, made it a 2-on-1. He takes the mark and kicks out to the right back pocket, where Lukosius takes the mark off a step under pressure. Missed Ainsworth. Hooley sliding in, trying to lock the footy in. Ainsworth over the top of him, lying on front of him. The umpire will throw it up left half forward for Richmond, opening 30 seconds of the match.
No surprise, Sam Collins back shoulder on Tom Lynch. A former Suns co-captain, of course, with Stephen May, now a two-time premiership winner with the Tigers. From the stoppage, Bolton went without it. Miller scoops it up for the Suns. Hand pass to Ellis, back to Miller, still at half-back, centering kick. Wanted Lukosius, kicks it over his head. A footy in dispute. Ainsworth just knocks it away to Lemons. Hits hand pass, reaches Holman, middle of the ground. Hand pass to Power, gives it back to Miller under pressure. His hand pass goes forward. There's a late whistle. He was tackled, Miller, after disposing of the footy. Baker took him down and took Miller to take it alongside the centre circles for the Suns.
Just watching Shane Edwards, he looks very, very sore.
Looks to be playing across half-back. Edwards tonight. Burgess got it from Toot Miller long towards full forward. It cleared King. Got to the back where Day was chasing Grimes. It gets the hand pass to Chol. And up and under hand pass to Sharp on 50. He jams it on the boot. The first shot on goal is a miss to the left-hand side. The Suns are on the board in this home match on a Thursday night. They're one behind, Richmond yet to score.
Give me a crowd figure, Sellers. You got a number you're thinking of?
8,000.
Ram?
Well, maybe 6.
Oh, price is right. Lower.
I'll go lower.
I think it's... I'll go in the middle, 7.
Oh.
Vlosten, long kick to the outer wing. Lynch punches it down to Dusty's advantage. 1-2 hand pass with Bolton. Dusty does a full 360 and wants to head back out city side. Takes a bounce, kicks a torp on the run. Down to half forward. Underneath it, Swallows. No free kick. Spills to Lynch. Turns, drives it deep. Top of the goal square. Castagna chases. Collects. Tries to wrong foot Ellis. Hand pass back to Pickett. 45 out half forward. Not a great kick. Turns it over and Took Miller involved again, takes the intercept mark and shares the 1-2 with Lemons.
Keeps it in the middle of the ground where Rankin marks on his chest. The hand pass to Matt Rowell. He'll hope to play a pivotal part tonight. Kicks to King, who marks it right half forward. He's got Ainsworth running into the pocket. Can he loop the kick over the top? Charging back, Vlosten. He takes the mark. Holman got there late to provide a block.
That took Miller. He took a mark down the back, and he's down there at the forward line when the ball got there. His running capacity is extraordinary, and his use of the ball has been fantastic at the Suns. He's their best player by a mile.
You mentioned Shane Edwards, Rammer. Did you spot what the incident was?
I think it was in we went to kick the ball off the ground. I'm just hoping it's a contact little injury for him, but he was very proppy.
So Ben Ainsworth out to the right. He's only about 30 metres out. For the dream star for the Gold Coast Suns, he comes in, starts it right, and it stays right. Wrong side of the right goalpost. The Suns 2 behind, Richmond yet to score through 3 minutes.
So David Asprey comes back into the team. He's got the role on Ben King. The message to Ben King needs to just run David Asprey off his legs in the opening quarter and blow him up.
Vlosten goes on a stroll from the kick out, long to Cochin, spills the mark out a wing, falls down to Bowes, high up and under for the Suns. Flying effort, Corbett can't come down with it, spills to Miller, hand pass made it tough for Lemons, takes on the tackler, ball comes free. Dusty collects for Richmond, hand pass inside to Baker, wants to give it to Joel, loose hand pass. Burgess applies the pressure, back to Baker, hand pass back to Short. And Richmond will come wide to Pickett. Oh, a little casual, leapt in the air, went without the footy. Ball slips out of play, of throwing on the wing.
He put his hands up there, Pickett. Don't think he used his hands at all.
A little concern, Brandon Ellis.
I would have thought so.
Former Tiger in the other direction, so boundary throw in. Palm down the Suns, Richmond's way in fact. Cotton's hand pass close to the boundary line and over and out. Matt Rao, his first game in Melbourne tonight on his 20th birthday, so Matt Rao, happy birthday to him. First time he's played at either Docklands or the MCG tonight.
Toss back into play. Chol in a tangle, didn't quite make it to the two roughs. Burgess there as well. Little topo from Chol to Cochin, who fired out a hand pass, but straight to Ainsworth. The Gold Coast Suns into attack. Good kick.
Super kick.
Great mark from Corbett in front position. As little Vlosten could do, it was such a great kick to the corridor. And the Suns get another crack at the opening goal.
Is that Fiorini?
That was Ainsworth who kicked it. And it's a beautiful kick because...
Now there's 50 metres.
And there's a bit of pushing and shoving. They're into the face of Nick Vlosten, and this might be 50. So it's going to mean an absolute certain goal here. And there's a bit going on off the ball here. You watch the fight sellers, I watch the goal as Corbett comes in, puts it into the third tier. So someone might have to go and chase that ball, Hodgie, because there's no one up there. 5 minutes gone, opening term. The Gold Coast Suns 1-2-8, Richmond yet to score.
Well, I was watching the little scuffle there. They're right into Vlosten. Obviously, they know he's important to the Richmond backline there. Corbett takes a really strong mark. It's the work there out of the contest. Ainsworth perfectly set up at the front of the stoppage, but the kick is just sublime. Rather than Corbett leading directly at the kicker, Ainsworth kicked the ball to space where he wanted Corbett to lead, where he could get the one-on-one matchup. Sells and I both spoke about getting Richmond into one-on-one contest inside their defensive 50. There's the first Gold Coast first chance of doing that. They kick a goal.
They're not very good at defence. They like to be together. They like to work together, and they don't have a lot of tools down the back half, so they're in a bit of trouble.
So Suns by 8 points. Corbett kicks the first. Grandstand AFL, 5.5 minutes into the opening quarter. Back in the middle, it's the Suns again, extracted by Burgess. Hand pass to Swallow. High kick inside 50. King crashes the back. Spills down front and centre. Ainsworth's way. Shoots goalward but misses. He had more time than he thought, cruising front and centre, and a minor score. It's all Gold Coast. 6.5 minutes in. The Suns 1-3. Richmond yet to score.
Miller's had 7 possessions.
Oh, he's huge.
Inside 50s, 5-2 the way of the Gold Coast Suns. Short with a long kick straight in the middle of the ground, but a good mark taken. Powell, who has improved in season 2021, playing predominantly across half-back, kicks towards Holman. It's a 2-on-1 sport away from him. Arts on it for Richmond. To McIntosh, to Martin, dragged down. Just got the hand pass away. Toot Miller onto it for the Suns. It bounces into Ainsworth. Good pressure from Holman, who laid a tackle. They turn to the umpire, and he's going to reward the tackle holding the ball. The intent from the Suns is impressive.
Yeah, it is, but that little scuffle in the middle there is about when you're getting old and when you get sick of people pushing you around. That's what Richmond were doing. They're sick of it. So they actually have a little scuffle.
Holman kicks for King in the pocket. Spoil comes across. It's out of play. Forward pocket for the Suns.
See, I remember the Brisbane Bears went like that in the end. The Brisbane Lions, when at their end, they become narky and unruly in a sense. And Richmond are exactly the same.
The unsociable Hawks.
Yeah, but they actually can play.
7.5 minutes in. Suns with the first 9 points from the boundary throw-in. Spills down to Bolton. Chucks it on the boot. Only as far as Holman. 40 out half forward for the Suns. Hands it to Rankin. Kicks back to the hot spot. Vlosten spoils. Follows up. Lost
Another
it.
one.
Day hands it out. A hurried kick forward. Fiorini puts it out on the full. Misses out to the left. So score remains the same. It's been locked in Gold Coast front half. They're 1-3-9. Richmond yet to score.
Richmond can't control the tempo of this game. They've had 0 marks in the first 8 minutes. They love to control tempo, the Tigers, but Gold Coast are all over them at the moment.
Inside 50, 6-2, Gold Coast way.
Bashahuli with a long kick to half-back. Lynch is able to gather it. Gave it to Bolton. His hand pass missed the intended target. A chance for Castagna, though, because there was a tug of the jumper. Just as Lukosius was going to gather. So
he's gone.
Richmond looked like they were going to turn over. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Yeah, Rama picked this in the first minute. Shane Edwards has just finally limped off, and he said to the doctor, I'm going straight to the rooms. He's shaking his head. I think he thinks he's done, guys.
So Thompson Dow the medical sub for Richmond. As the kick came out to Ross. Centre wing, long towards Lynch in the pack. He flew uncontested in the end. Jack Revolt put a nice little block that prevented Sam Collins from getting a fist onto it.
He slipped, Clinchy. It's that critical moment, Collins. So that allowed Lynch to, like you said, go in and take that mark pretty much uncontested. In the end, important this for Lynch. He's obviously been out for a period of time. Get your hands on the ball early, shot at goal. Got to nail it.
Missed 6 weeks with a knee injury. The second leading goal scorer for the Tigers behind Jack Revolt. He'll shoot out to the left from right on 50. It's a good strike. It's dragging left, but it gets there. Tiger Tom is back and having an impact. As the opening goal for Richmond comes at the 9-minute mark of the opening term. The Suns lead is 3 points, 1-3-9 to the Tigers. 1 straight 6. Mark McClure and Adam Ramanaskas are with you on Thursday Night Footy.
Tommy Lynch is one of their stars. He's been out for some time, and it was good to see him get his hands on that ball. There was a lot of pushing and shoving in that marking duel. A few people thrown out of the way. Jack grabbed one and threw him out of the way. Didn't get seen. I mean. So, to me, Tommy Lynch is a real pivotal part of this game. And they've had only 3 inside 50s to have one score at this stage. So to me, they've been well beaten at this stage, but gee whiz, they got some weapons when they get it up there forward quickly with Lynch and Rewalt.
You mentioned Rama just taking their game away from them. That's just the second mark Richmond have taken. The Gold Coast Suns have actually conceded more marks in the competition from round 5 than any other team. So says a bit how the Suns are switched on early tonight as well. As Day wins the tap, Fiorini to Miller away to Flanders. He hands it to Lemons off half back with a job on Dusty, and he hits up Corbett, who takes the mark 70 out half forward, puts it into the pocket. King the target, ran underneath it, slips out the back. A short happy to usher it through, and he does for a minor score. Rush behind. Gold Coast 1-4. Richmond with their goal against the run of play. They're 1 straight. 4-point lead for the Suns, 11 minutes in.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Yeah, just to back over the Shane Edwards moment, he limped off the ground. The doctor tried to call him back, and he was already down the race into the rooms. I think he knows he's done something serious, so let's hope he can get back on the ground.
Here's Nash, who gets it at right half forward for Richmond. He finds Lynch on the lead. Beautiful transition from half back into attack. The Gold Coast Suns never got a look at it as Bolton from half back found Revolt, and the rest, as they say, was in the books.
Good experience there because they separated it from Jack Rewalt and Tommy Lynch. Went different ways, and then you can make your choice of who you kick it to.
He's about 5 metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket, 35 metres out. Lynch looking for back-to-back goals for the Tigers. It's right all the way, and in the end missed by a fair margin. Richmond 1-1-7 to the Suns 1-4-10. 12 minutes gone, opening term.
Roof open to start round 16 Thursday night footy. Suns home game against the Tigers. 14 degrees and a clear night, no late change. Lukosius on the kick out. Water drop punt 60 metres up towards the wing. Thump down into the path of Arthur. Goes darting through traffic. Takes on the tackler. Slips away from Corbett. Bangs Richmond deep in the Lynch direction. Got a little nudge. Wanted a free. He'll get it. His teammates want the advantage. They'll take it. Nash into the open goal. And Paddy Nash pops it through from the top of the goal square. And just like that, Richmond are in front. The Tigers 2-1-13, Gold Coast 1-4-10. First lead change of the night comes 13 minutes in. Grandstand AFL, Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure.
I'm just looking at the Suns defender because it was a free kick for Tom Lynch. I think that was against Ballard. It was against Ballard who that free kick was against. It was silly because the contest was there. Gold Coast had the numbers. So they've given Richmond an easy out in that contest. They had 2 guys flying for the ball, and then what happens with the advantage? You got 2 Richmond players sitting at the back because they don't fly in the contest, and it's an easy goal for Paddy Nash in the end. But just Ballard just didn't need to do that.
Adam Ramanaskas with you on Grandstand AFL. Son, of course, of Chris Nash, who played 161 games with the Tigers and Port Adelaide. Back in the middle of the ground, Burgess one down the tap, but Dusky squeezes a kick to half forward. Charging out Castagna, he's tackled and ridden into the turf by Markov. Ball comes clear, Pickett trying to find a way through. Hand pass over his shoulder, but Fiorini onto it for the Suns. Hand pass wide of Markov, he can't gather. And Pickett careful almost to put him into the fence.
That's been given a free kick a lot of times. couple of angry pills, Marlon Pickett. He's always in. When there's a skirmish, he's always involved.
But is he there when it's hard?
The boundary throw in, Coleman Jones. First hands on the footy, taps it down, but Rao collects. First possession, hand pass to Ellis, hooks his kick down the wing, slips past Flanders into the lap of Hooley on the bounce. Hurried kick down to half forward for the Tigers. Flying for it, Ross, no mark, spills the Suns' way. Swallow to Ellis, away to Fiorini, under pressure, kicks too wide. Good pressure applied from Rewalt, forces the turnover. And the Tigers will get it back right in front of the interchange gates, and Dylan Grimes to take it. Tigers by 3 points, 14 and a half minutes in.
There's a bit going on off the ball with Ballard and Rewalt. Grimes veers out to the right, gets a good 10 metres, puts it in the direction of Tom Lynch against two. Lemons in front, dropped the mark. It's a free kick.
No, he took the mark.
He's paid the mark, righto. I don't think it was...
chopping the arms.
So Markov tried to kick it away. It wasn't his free kick. Lemons is going to take it in the defensive 50. Out to half-back. The kick is beautifully placed out in the path of Ben Ainsworth. He didn't have to break stride to take the mark. He can poke the ball over the top to Fiorini.
It won't hurt him to control the ball for a little while. Just hold it in their hands. Don't give them any action at all.
Can they find a gap through the corridor? Fiorini kicks in. Wasn't 15. Ainsworth tackled immediately. No whistle as Graham was right onto him. A throw up right below our commentary position here at Docklands. It's the Tigers leading by 3 points.
Tim Hodges telling us Shane Edwards down the race with the doctor, so we'll give you an update when one comes to hand from the restart. Swallow, his kick smothered, ricochets back into congestion. Fiorini's hand pass out to Lemons, kicks down to half forward for the Suns. Hand up and mark taken to Asprey, but a free kick. King
50.
Got a shove in all of that.
That's 50 metres.
Should be.
And Ben King's going to take it, pokes the pass into the pocket and hitting up Flanders, marks for the Suns.
So Grimes tells Asprey to get off the mark. Grimes then goes and stand the mark, but he's 2 metres ahead of where the mark was actually marked. So I know that's being technical, but it's 50 metres.
This is Sam Flanders, the teenager, one of 3 out on the ground. Pick 11 back in 2019's national draft. Tight angle, he's up against the fence as he starts his approach. Right half forward, little daylight between the posts. It doesn't have to trip, it's marked to the goal square. Burgess takes a towering pack mark on the behind line.
He was very good against Collingwood. Burgess kicked 4 goals one day there against the MCG, against the Pies. He's going to do it again.
He'll get a second look at it here. He'll be able to snap across the body with his right peg. Here's a right footer. And he whacks it hard into the post. The Bronx cheer from the Richmond fans and a minor score. They've dominated large periods of this opening term, the Suns, yet they're 1-5. Richmond lead it. They're 2-1. Tigers by a couple of points, 17 minutes in.
Boston brings Richmond back into play. Long kick towards Chol, or in the pack. Coleman Jones couldn't take the mark. A chance for the Suns through Lemons. Hand pass to Burgess. Can he redeem himself here? Turns on the right. Kicks to the pocket, looking for King in a tangle with Asprey. Asprey spoils it towards the boundary line in front of Corbett and Hooley, and it goes out of play. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
This is not looking good for Shane Edwards. They have to ask the umpire for the medical sub piece of paper that they then have to fill in. So they've asked for the piece of paper. Now they've got to fill it in. So I don't think you're going to be seeing Shane Edwards back on this field, guys.
Can't take a trick at the moment. Missed such a large portion of last year, coming back to Melbourne for the arrival of one of his children. Got back for finals, but so important to Richmond. Grimes is getting a free kick here in the defensive 50 against Flanders. Goes short towards the boundary line, and Short has it. Hard up against the pocket.
Already lost 4 from last week's team through injury as well, so just as they get some back, they lose a few more troops, the Tigers. Long kick down the line. There's a free. Player taken high. It was Markov. No, in fact, Lukosius. Either way, it's a Suns free kick. Markov thought it was his. Lukosius to take it. On the wing, and the Suns are going inside 50. That raking drop punt kicks it very deep. Corbett clears traffic. Vlosten takes the mark.
They keep kicking high like that, they're just going to be outmarked all the time. They're too good at it, the Tigers.
Vlosten comes wide to Arts against the boundary line. He plays on off half-back and kicks it out on the full. Gee, just lacking a few O's in smooth at the moment this game. Free kick for Lukosius, defensive side of the wing. It's the Tigers by 2 points. Suns 1-5, Richmond 2-1, 18 and a half minutes in.
Lukosius looks to chip it back inboard on the 45, finds Markov, the former Tiger. His eyes are darting into the corridor. He's going to go backwards to switch play. And the mark is taken by Bowes. He's 35 metres out from his defensive goal, and all of a sudden options have dried up out on the City side. So back to Markov on the Dogs side. Out further to the right where Lukosius has it. We're back where we started. So Richmond's press for the moment, providing no clear options. Chips it to Rowell. He takes the mark in front of Collier Dawkins, and he comes in. That's not 15 to Miller. Call to play on. Back to Lukosius. Kicks off the outside of the boot to half forward. Who's there? Coleman Jones charges out, crashes the pack. Hooley trying to spin out of traffic. Down low was Flanders. Gets the hand pass forward. Ainsworth into the pocket. Nice pass. And King takes the mark on his chest.
Well, I think the rule of the week already is the 15-metre pass. So the umpires call play on now with 3 of those short kicks. So other teams watching the game tonight be aware of that. But just good trying to isolate Ben King and Asprey as much as you possibly can, Gold Coast.
34 goals for the season. Ben King comes in. That's a beautiful kick. The Suns return to the lead as they get some return for all their hard work. They're 2-5-17 to the Tigers 2-1-13. 20 minutes gone. Opening term with Mark McClure and Adam Ramanauskas on Thursday Night Footy.
Well, they used the ball really well going forward. They chipped it around. They controlled it for a little while, the Suns. Then all of a sudden they find King on his own and go bang. King takes it easy mark. Easy. And that's the one you want. The easiest mark you can get on your own. 5 metres in front of Asprey, who's daggling behind him. And then he just goes back and finishes it off. And now they're in front. They're in front by 4 points and haven't been bashed up at all. I mean, they're just not the same. The Tigers like to play in chaos, push hard, quickly, lots of players around the ball and out overwhelm you. I haven't seen that tonight. I'm seeing a chipping game. And when they get it close to forward, they just kick it along to Tommy Lynch, and that's all they've got at this stage.
Up to 35 goals for the year as well. Ben King having a great season as Joel in the middle wins the tap, but Miller again first touch. Hand pass to Bowes for Gold Coast. Kicks through the centre square. Holman the target. Ball takes a bounce and runs in the direction of Sexton. Sexton gave it to Holman under the pump. Pack forms around him. Naish lays the tackle. He's in trouble. Holding the ball. Free kick for the Tigers. And Paddy Naish to take it. Defensive edge of the centre square. So Naish's kick down to half forward again, looking in the Lynch direction. Coleman Jones got hands to it. Spills to Collins. He was taken high in all of that. Free kick for the Suns. Lays off the hand pass to the runner Bowes. A long kick finds Corbett, who marks on the wing.
Got them on the break, the Suns, as he quickly moves it to half forward. Flanders takes the mark, wants to feed the hand pass inboard to Sexton. 55 metres out, goes for home. It's out flying to the left. And a minor score. 2-6-18 the Gold Coast Suns to Richmond 2-1-13. 22 minutes gone, opening term.
Asprey short to the back pocket. There it is again. Play on the call to Vlosten. Sweeping Polly Farmer, hand pass away to Ross. Looks back inside to Short. Handball out wide to Hawley. Kicks along the boundary line again. He's put it out on the full, Basher Hawley. A little too familiar with the MCG and the fat wings.
Oh, come on. Don't make excuses, whatever you do.
There's Rowell in front of the bench. Kicks the Suns inside the forward 50. A little ball just pings out in the direction of Short. He knocks it to Baker, and Baker's away. Hand pass to Naish. They peel off the opposite flank. Kicks down the wing, and there's a free kick. Coleman Jones in a tangle with Ballard. Free kick going the Suns' way. Charlie Ballard to take it. City wing right on the logo against Coleman Jones. Gold Coast 2-6, Richmond 2-1, 23 minutes into the opening term.
Of course, it's a Gold Coast Suns home game, but you can hear the Richmond parochial fans. So they're getting a few at the wrong end of it. As the Suns move it to half-back, Ballard back to Bowes, who looks out to the City side, where Sexton has worked hard up the wing to take the mark between wing and half-back. Looks at options into the corridor, spots Rowell, risky kick, got over Castagna but couldn't take the mark. Charging onto it was Bowes, great little kick, got it to Flanders, now to the run of Lemons, kicks inside 50. What
beautiful work.
That's 50.
A bullet pass as the mark is taken from Burgess in the right forward pocket, got a shove after he took the mark as well.
That's 50 metres.
Maybe old Chol just gave him a shove after he took the mark. That rule's not being imposed this week.
Why wasn't it 50 metres?
This is where the frustration comes in. with the consistency around particular rules from umpires.
It's good work, though, by the Suns through the middle of the ground.
Chris Burgess has had a sider. He's got to kick this one from the right forward pocket, pushes it across the face, and a minor score. So 9 scoring shots to 3. 2-7-19 to 2-1-13. 24 minutes gone.
What's very noticeable early in this game is the Suns look much quicker, and they also getting more numbers to contest, which Richmond very much pride their game on.
Ross, long kick out of the defensive arc, up to the wing. Lynch did well, brought it down. A hand pass from Graham. Away to Pickett, kicks to left half forward. There's no one there for the Tigers. Getting back. And Lukosius, first one there for the Suns. Hooks across the body to Flanders. He's bowled over by Baker, wins the footy. Kicks top of the goal square and across the front. Collins takes the intercept mark.
How that umpire did not see Martin get pulled away is beyond me.
Martin and Lemons in a tangle behind that. Collins to take it. Comes out to half back for Flanders. Here's Shane Edwards, who's back into the game. Hand pass away to Pickett. Gives it to Cochin. Kick smothered. Suns back on the ball. Alice to Fiorini, and now Holman on the wing.
Kicks towards half forward. King had led back to the corridor, so Grimes should be able to gather just inside the boundary. No. I think he cleverly took that over. A Swallow charged towards him. And a boundary throw in. So Tim Hodges back on the boundary. Shane Edwards back into the action.
I've never seen anything like that. He was staying in down the race, and as soon as Bashahuli came to the bench, he ran straight up the race, straight onto the ground. So I don't know. So he was super fresh. But I mean, they were very sheepish on the bench because they were the ones who actually asked for the medical sub certificate before, because I think they thought he was out of the game. So amazingly, he's back out there.
Good on you, Hodgie. Richmond in the middle of the ground, have a chance to break forward, couldn't take it. Now Bolton with a clean pick-up. Hand pass to Edwards, who turns it over straight to Ballard. He takes the mark on the defensive 50 for the Gold Coast Suns. Kicks out to Sexton, who takes the mark at left half back.
Sexton back inboard to Miller. Looks to centre half back, and Bowes will take the mark for the Suns. A 6-point lead for Gold Coast. 26 played opening term. And the kick's going to go across the half-back line. There's plenty of hang time in that, but finds Brandon Ellis.
Miller's had 11 already.
Ellis straightens up to Fiorini. A slow, short-kicking game here for the Suns in their defensive half. Now the contest kick. Chol in the box seat. He's going to mark uncontested. They didn't arrive in time. Chol looks back into the corridor. Richmond on the counter-attack. Edwards collects on the bounce, kicks to a one-on-one, and Lemons read it better. Takes the mark over the top of Arts. Suns back with it.
He's got Toot Miller over the top free. He can kick it to him. Possession number is that 12. You're already onto it, Sellers. Looks at the half forward where David Swallow takes the mark. He's 60 metres out though, puts it in the pocket. It's wide of King, and it bounces wide of him and Jaden Short. So some of the Suns' disposals just been a bit frustrating at times.
I'm just watching Miller for the last couple of minutes just to see who's on him.
He runs hard, doesn't he?
He runs extremely hard. But it doesn't look like he's got a direct opponent. Like Baker's gone to him now, who's a defender for the Tigers.
Thrown back in, Burgess tapped it down. A chance for Pickett though to clear. Hand pass away to Collier Dawkins, who got it forward to Nation. He goes to the barrel, but it'll be coming back. As Ballard for the Gold Coast Suns takes the mark on his chest at half-back.
Oh, dangerous one-on-one. Ellis and Martin, and Ellis got to his feet. Now Mark's Dusty. Wins the one-on-one. Long kick to Markov, his former Richmond, now Suns teammate. On the wing, and he's off and running. 2 bounces for Markov. 70 out, drives the kick to the top of the goal square. McIntosh hands to it, spills it. King collects. Hand pass to Swallow under pressure. Got it back out to Ainsworth. His hand pass a little loose, and Edwards onto it for the Tigers. Goes wide to Rewalt in the back pocket. Rewalt went without it. McIntosh collects, turns it over. Lukosius kicks to the top of the goal square. Vlosten spoils, down to Days. Hand pass ends up with Pickett. He gives it off to Baker to Vlosten, and the Tigers try and work it out.
Feeds the hand pass to Grimes, who gets it away to Graham off the outside of the boot. Kicks it towards Dusty, put the body on Ballard, cleared the path for Lynch. Onto it to Grimes. He had a fumble. Lacking a little bit of composure at the moment. Ross gives it back to Grimes. A chance to send Richmond into attack as the siren sounds for quarter time before it could get to Collins and Lynch. So quarter time at Docklands, Thursday night footy. And it's the Gold Coast Suns leading by 6 points. 2-7-19 to the Tigers 2-1-13. So the Suns had their chances to absolutely make Richmond pay in that opening term. That being said, the Tigers only managed 2 goals in all of last week's game against the Saints, so they've ticked off their 2 goals in the first quarter. Goals to Corbett and to King for the Gold Coast Suns. Meanwhile, for the Tigers, through Naish and Lynch.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital and ABC News Radio, this is Grandstand AFL.
Conversations.
You go into a psychiatric hospital.
Spend an hour in the life of someone else.
Because you can no longer function.
Someone who's seen and done remarkable things.
Who are all these crazy people? And it takes a while to realise you're one of them. Just because people are not completely sane doesn't mean they can't help you.
Hear the latest conversations weekday mornings from 11 on ABC Radio and follow on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Just watching Shane Edwards, he looks very, very sore. He went to kick the ball off the ground. I'm just hoping it's a contact. Little injury for him, but he was very prompt. It's Hopo from shoulder. Cochin, who fired out a hand pass, but straight to Ainsworth. The Gold Coast Suns into attack. Good kick.
Super kick.
Great mark from Corbett in front position. It's a bit of pushing and shoving. They're into the face of Nick Lawson, and this might be 50. So it's going to mean an absolute certain goal here. And there's a bit going on off the ball here. You watch the fight, Sellers. I watch the goal as Corbett comes in, puts it into the third tier.
Shane Edwards has just finally limped off, and he said to the doctor, I'm going straight to the rooms. He's shaking his head. I think he thinks he's done, guys.
The kick came out to Ross. Centre wing, long doors. Lynch in the pack. He flew uncontested in the end. Missed 6 weeks with a knee injury. Second leading goal scorer for the Tigers behind Jack Revold. He'll shoot out to the left from right on 50. It's a good strike. It's dragging left, but it gets there. Tiger Tom is back and having an impact.
Arthur goes darting through traffic, slips away from Corbett, bangs Richmond deep in the Lynch direction, got a little nudge, wanted a free, he'll get it. His teammates want the advantage, they'll take it. Naish into the open goal, and Paddy Naish pops it through from the top of the goal square. And just like that, Richmond are in front.
Down low was Flanders, gets the hand pass forward. Ainsworth into the pocket, nice pass. King takes the mark on his chest. Ben King comes in, that's a beautiful kick. The Suns return to the lead. Tim Hodges back on the boundary, Shane Edwards back into the action.
I've never seen anything like that. He was staying in down the race, and as soon as Basher Hooley came to the bench, he ran straight up the race, straight onto the ground.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
So some more injury troubles for the Tigers. But the good news, Shane Edwards is continuing on for the time being. It's quarter time at Docklands. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clinch, Tim Hodges, Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure. A 6-point lead for the Suns. Off the SMS 0437 774 774. Frank in Wild Catcham in Western Australia. G'day lads, listening in on my way to football training. Left me old man on the tractor. Shout out to Pedro Sack and Gibbo. Great to hear from you, Frank, and good luck at training tonight. Carlos in Calbarry says Mark McClure for PM. He'd get the vaccine rolled out. He'd be like, get the jab or on your bike. Is the message from Carl. And Chris in Western Victoria, hey guys, how about a $1,000 fine for each player from any club who kicks a point when it's deliberately kicked for a goal? Funds donated to charity. It's going to be costing a few bucks on that front. Would like to hear from you throughout the night. 0437 774 774. Rammer and Sellers.
Really impressive Sellers by the Suns.
They were great. They had 9 shots to 3.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you sit there and just think about that on its own. This is a side who's won 2 of the last premierships, or 3 of the last 4 premierships in a row, and they're taking on a young side from the Gold Coast who have come here to play. They chipped it around well. All their statistics are up. They're 20% possessions higher than the Tigers. Their clearance work is tremendous. Their tackle, their contested ball, they're miles in front. They're 8 in front in that area in 1 quarter. So that keeps going. That goes up to sort of 36 or something like that in front. The tackle counts up. The marks are 40 to 10. They haven't, that's all it is. So they're controlling the ball well. They're doing really good stuff. But it's all been put together by Took Miller in the middle of the ground in their midfield. Friarani, Lukosius, they've all had over 10 possessions. 13, 8 and 8, the 2 of those ones there. And the next one in is Vlaston. And then you've got You've also got in the back half is short. You know, I mean, there's no midfield power here from Richmond anymore. What's happened to their midfield power? Where's Cochin? Where's Bolton? Where are they? What are they doing to drive the ball into the forward line? At this stage, the Gold Coast Suns, if they were composed and could finish as they should have in that quarter, they'd be 4 or 5 goals in front, Rammer.
The scoreboard's actually flattering Richmond.
I agree.
They laid 6 tackles for the quarter.
Terrible.
That's just not Richmond. And these are the concerns that I spoke about before the game from Damien Hartwig. It can't be denied anymore. They've dropped away enormously on their pressure. It looks like continually in that quarter there was more red jumpers at the contest. There was more red jumpers wanting to run, to create space. So Richmond can consider themselves extremely lucky with a 6-point margin.
Tigers have got themselves in a rumble, a 6-point game. Gold Coast 2-7, Richmond 2-1. Tim Hodges on the boundary. Hodgie, any update on Shane Edwards?
Yeah, I don't think Sellers will be too happy. Shea Bolton starting on the bench in this second term, so he won't be getting any touches anytime soon. Shane Edwards is starting out there. It was an ankle injury, the Tigers have let us know, so great to see him back out there firstly, but it did look touch and go whether he was going to return for quite a while there.
Suns by 6, second quarter action. Coleman Jones with the first hit out, down to Miller. Got it again, a centre clearance to centre half forward. Back with the flight. Ross got a hand on it. Knocks it though to Flanders. Hand pass to Days. Tackled immediately. Pack centre half forward for the Suns. Umpire says ball up. Chris Donlan, John Howarth and Alex Wetton, the 3 umpires tonight. Suns in the all-red with the red shorts and their Indigenous jumper, and Richmond also in their home strip with the black shorts and, of course, the yellow sash. As Cochin from the clearance comes out wide to Arts. He's wrapped up. Just gets a hand pass away back inboard to Pickett. He turns it over.
Lemon's got it to Sharp, kicks around his body. Back with one arm was Ross. He got a spoil onto it. Edwards gets it to Hawley. Pressure hand pass. As all of a sudden Richmond are under pressure. Coleman Jones lost it. Burgess gathers long to the goal mouth. King up, couldn't complete the mark. And Grimes gathers up against the behind line. He kicks back towards Ross. It hung in the air a long time and just cleared the outreached fingertips of Josh Corbett. As Ross kicks back into the corridor there.
He's had a couple of moments here, Ross.
Railway tracks at the moment.
He won't be too proud of him either.
He kicks it short to Grimes, who hands it back to Ross. Long kick to the city wing. McIntosh back with a flight, clatters into his teammate Rewald. Ball spills free. Ellis's hand pass back into dispute. And we'll have a ball up out on that city wing. Hasn't been the cleanest footy so far tonight, early stage of second term. The umpire just trying to clean the footy on the playing surface here as well. Umpire Donlan before he chucks it in the air. Coleman Jones reaching over the top. Cochin and Miller bang bodies. Loose footy collected by Dusty. Hand pass out to Baker. Feints to kick. Hand pass made its way to Graham. Takes on the tackle. Hands it inboard to McIntosh. Kicks to centre half forward. Missed the target in Lynch horribly. And Powell takes the intercept mark in his 50th game at centre half back.
50
and now
metres.
50. Arts on the mark, I think, was the man just encroaching, and as a result, Will Powell will be up into the front half.
He looks to drive the Gold Coast Suns long towards King. Corbett! Corbett crashed the pack. The ball lays beneath them. A chance still as Corbett gathers, got it to King. Can't quite sidestep an opponent. Flanders hard against the boundary. Screws it back to the corridor. Sharp up. Got it.
Well done.
Takes the mark on his chest in the corridor over Marlon Pickett.
They're enjoying themselves, the Gold Coast Suns. They're starting to play. They're competitive. That's what they're like. All of a sudden, a really good team kick into the middle of the ground.
It's just...
And a really good mark. And this should be finished. This should be finished as a goal.
Something always good happens when you're unselfish.
Correct.
Sam Flanders, unselfish there.
Jeremy Sharp, the Western Australian, in his 4th game, looking for his first goal. Had a shot in the first quarter, directly in front. He misses to the right-hand side.
He missed because he poked at it instead of actually kicking it.
So only the Gold Coast Suns' wayward kicking is keeping Richmond in this game. 2:8:20 to the Tigers 2-1-13.
There should be 3 or 4 goals up the Suns as Vlosten goes on a run, kicks to the outer wing. Dusty had his jumper tugged in the marking contest. Lemons gives away the free. Martin gets up to take it, kicks up into the front half. Castagna marks for Richmond. Hand pass to the running McIntosh, 70 out, ugly kick.
No left
Slips
foot.
away to Rewalt. His hand pass back to McIntosh, missed him, and it's out of play.
That's a player with no left foot, McIntosh. He can only go on his right, never goes on his left, and when he has to, that's what you get. Not much.
Boundary throw in, 55 out from the Tigers goal. It's a 7-point game. Suns lead it 2-8 to 2-1, 4 minutes into the second.
Lynch into the ruck against Burgess. Tap down to Cochin, trying to get it to Martin. Couldn't do so. Collier Dawkins, not sure if that was a throw to Baker. Kicks inside the 50 yards on the bounce. Tackle by Holman. Thrown to the turf. Oh, I don't know if he had prior opportunity there, but he's been penalised. What do you think, Rammer? He did?
No, absolutely. He tried to fend off.
Yeah.
Righto.
So, and that, again, that's a little thing that you don't see by the time. Usually you would see first give handball. There, Rewalt was in space to give the handball. They chose not to.
You know why first? Because they fumbled. They're fumbling if you watch them. They are fumbling every time, and that stops you giving the first hit.
Holman out to Corbett on the city wing. He's going to come inboard, and Lukosius has it at the back edge of the centre square. Gold Coast Suns by 7 points.
One out in his own there. I don't know how he got there.
Great kick to Lukosius on the 50-metre drop punt to Burgess. Marks, kicks inside the pocket.
King.
There's King. Ben King hitting up and marking. Right forward pocket for the Suns. He'll kick from 20 out.
So tell me how Lukosius gets on his own, 50 metres on his own with no one near him.
Oh, Burgess. Lukosius kicked it to Burgess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
extraordinary.
Well, it's the other ruckman. So where's he? You look at Coleman Jones is sitting inside his defensive 50.
Ben King, slide angle, right half forward, moves in, dobs it. The Suns finally getting some reward. They skip away on the scoreboard. They've doubled Richmond's score. 5.5 minutes into the second term. It's the Suns 3-8-26. Richmond at 2-1-13. 5.5 played second term.
If they put the foot down here, the Suns, and get reward on the scoreboard, they're going to put a gap on Richmond very quickly in this game. The Tigers, look, they look tired.
They do look tired.
They look, I'm not saying they're not interested in the game, but it doesn't look like they want to get to contest quicker than their Gold Coast players. It doesn't look like they're showing the care in their disposal, which we so often see. It doesn't look like they want to give first handball.
They look like they've lost their shine.
Whereas
that's what they look like.
The Suns look like a top 8 team.
Well, yeah, I suppose they do. It's unusual to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure with you on Grandstand AFL. Miller tried to get the clearance, tumbled over. Coleman Jones doing the right work, can't get it clear. Martin tackled as he tried to get a hand pass forward. Flanders brought down by Edwards, and the umpire will toss it up.
Yeah, but their ball is clean. They're cleaning. Their kicking is good. Their low shape kicks into the forward line are terrific.
Burgess palms it down for the Suns, but straight to Dusty. He kicks it forward. Naish takes the mark. Just to the left of the 2 centre circles. Looks inside, 50. Revolt on the move. He marks left of centre. 45 metres out from goal.
Is this his first touch?
It would have to be one of his first.
I heard him called it all.
298. He's kicked 698 goals.
3 handballs. This will be his first kick.
Looking to become the 8th player.
I didn't think he did that handball stuff.
300 games and kicked 700 goals. He'll become the 3rd Tiger to join Kevin Bartlett and Matthew Richardson. Jack Revolt veers out to the right. The Tigers need a lift. Strikes it well, but misses to the left. A minor score. 2-2-14 to the Suns, 3-8-26. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Just a really interesting moment there, guys. Trent Cotchin, the captain, came off the ground and Shea Bolton was coming on to replace him. Cotchin grabbed Bolton by the chest and almost sort of shoved him, like to prick him into gear just to get him into this game. So he's going out there with the captain giving him a rubake.
Ellis runs into trouble on the wing and then got taken high in the tackle. Richmond fans ain't happy. Free kick for Brandon Ellis, a former Tiger. These two teams have had a bit of history in recent times from the trade period. Number of players swapping between clubs as Ellis eventually finds Fiorini, just kicks off a single step, plenty of hang time down the wing, and Collier Dawkins with the intercept floats through, takes the mark. He goes short to to Jaden in front of the interchange, who turns and whacks it long to Lynch. One out with Collins. Lynch coming over the back, over the shoulder. No free kick. Down to Baker. Kicks into the pocket. Rewalt upended in the turf. Hit it hard. Didn't get any give in the ground. Didn't take the mark. Ballard mops it up across the goal face, and Lukosius marks in the defensive goal square. Almost did a face plant into the turf, Jack Rewalt, and a bunch of turf spat up behind him. The Suns away with the footy.
Lukosius long out of the fence, kicks towards Corbett, who spoils it down. A chance for Holman. He's tackled by Hooley. The ball spills clear. Shea Bolton onto it, trying to break through a tackle. His hand pass forward is straight to Lukosius, though. The Suns kick long around the city wing. Boston back with the flight, dropped the mark. He's got enough time to regather, though. Corbett corrals him, looks into the corridor. Good vision. He spots Graham. It's over his head, though. Trying to run onto it. He taps it forward. The South Australians onto it. He runs away from Fiorini. Kicks inside the 50. Rebound the target. Free kick.
He's two hands in the back there. So Graham's kicked it. It's the tiniest of touches, but the two hands are in the back.
I thought you had to come back from for that kick.
The ball had already left his boot, so it goes to where he kicks it.
Right.
So downfield free kick. Jack Rewalt has found the footy in his hands. I thought Tom Lynch was maybe the closest, but
I think he pushed him out of the way.
Jack had his hands on it.
Did he?
When the ball went inside forward 50.
So Jack Rewalt gets another go at it. Pretty much directly in front. 25 metres out. They need their spearhead to step up here. Rewalt comes in and this time puts it through. Goal number 699 of his career. An important one for Richmond in this contest as he cuts the margin back to 6 points the Suns' way. They're 3-8-26 to the Tigers, 3-2-20. 10 minutes gone, second term. You're with Adam Romanascus and Mark McClure.
Well, he started to touch the ball, Jack, and once he starts to do that and gets in front of goal, he's had a couple of pings at it, goal, and that one was a beauty, straight through the middle. Came from a free kick, of course, and a push in the back as he kicked the ball just there, and Jack was in that area as a few others were. Got a free kick 15 to 20 metres out. They needed that goal. Absolutely, desperately needed something to get them straightened up a bit. They've been beaten in most contests. Their contested possessions are they're getting beaten there. They're getting beaten everywhere, except on the scoreboard. They're just hanging in there.
Six points now, just the lead for the Suns. 3-8 to 3-2 in the game. Chol back in the middle, down to Miller again, who gets the centre clearance for the Suns. Out to half forward, Grimes floating through, takes the intercept mark. And Grimes at half back comes up with it for the Tigers. He goes short to Hooley. Collects on the half volley at centre half back. Turns and kicks out wide to the back flank. Sharp there for Gold Coast. Whacks it down to Rankin. Rankin tackled, dispossessed. Spills down to Baker of the Tigers. Hand pass back inboard. Still in dispute. Miller on the bottom of the pack. Extracts it once more for the Suns. Hand pass to Ainsworth. He's upended in the tackle. Free kick for a hold. Everyone looks at the umpire. It's going Richmond's way. And a free kick to come to Asprey, who was dumped without the footy, or having disposed of it. And David Asprey to take it left half back for the Tigers. It's the Suns by 6 points, 11 played in the second term.
Works it over the top by foot to Vlosten. Long around the city wing to Rewalt, a 2-on-1. Lehman's brought it to the front. No free kick as Bolton swoops onto it. Hand pass in the middle of the ground to Collier Dawkins. He kicks inside 50. Whistle in the middle of the ground. And I think it's going to be a Suns free kick.
What for?
So the non-officiating umpire in the middle of the ground had picked out the free kick. It's going Sam Collins' way, so I can only assume it's for a hole before the ball was in the vicinity.
Who's on the mark? Is that Jack?
No. Excuse me. It's coming all the way back against Dustin Martin.
That's right.
Well, he's the man on the mark anyway. So the Suns have it eventually as Swallow kicks out to the city wing and Corbett has it. Advances it to Sexton at right half forward. This is the ease in which the Suns are moving the ball long towards Rankin with Asprey. Used his body to get space, couldn't complete the mark. Charging onto it, Edwards, hard against the boundary. He's taken over the line by Rankin and a boundary throw in. Right forward pocket for the Gold Coast Suns. They're 3-8-26. The Tigers 3-2-20. 12 minutes gone, second term.
6 point game, 3-8 to 3-2. 13 minutes into the second quarter. And the boundary throw-in. Chol with force from the back down towards Collier Dawkins. Hand pass to Asprey. Tackled immediately. Rankin and McIntosh bang shoulders. Ball squirts out of play. There's a free kick here.
For who?
And it's going to come all the way back to Asprey.
What for? Wasn't that a contest? A good contest, I thought.
I said taken high, so free kick to Asprey, back pocket. He's going to head back down the city side of the ground. Hard work for the Tigers tonight. Kicks to a contest. Lynch whacks it away, and now to play it goes. Between wing and half forward for the Suns. They're kicking to the locket end in this second quarter. Roof open. 13 and a half minutes played. It's a 6-point lead for Gold Coast.
Toss back into play. Day up against Chol. Down to the front. Ricochets off the shins of Miller. Sharp over the footy. Courageous as Bolton was coming the other way. Knocks it clear. Collier Dawkins can't take it. Swallow with a little kick forward. Holman couldn't take the mark. Edwards right there with him. No space for Dusty as he tries to charge his way through. He dropped the footy in the end. And it goes out of play. Right half forward for the Suns. They're leading by 6 points.
You can see the Tigers are working harder. You can see that they've been told, hang on a second here, you blokes. You better get your backside into gear and start moving here because you're going to get rolled again.
Neither sub has been made at this stage from the boundary throw-in. A hurried kick forward from Swallow. Whacked forward by Ellis, but only as far as Grimes for the Tigers. He links up with Baker, gives it to Edwards, kicks out to the back flank. Markov, run down by Castagna. Gets up, gets a hand pass away for the Suns. Ellis heads back over the footy. Clever tap out from Pickett. Away to Arts. Goes racing over halfway with a bounce. Kicks inside 50. Lynch at the back. 3 Suns go up. Spills down to Rewalt. Kicks across the half-forward line and Bolton takes it millimetres off the turf at centre-half forward. Plays on from 40 out. Turns, whacks it straight through the middle. Locks it all up for the Tigers. Shea Bolton from 45 out. And midway through the second term, we're all knotted up again. Gold Coast 3-8-26, Richmond 4-2-26. Grandstand AFL, Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure.
Well, that's vintage Richmond. And it's just a rush kick outside of their defensive 50.
Chaos.
Castagna then makes a terrific tackle on Markov, his old teammate. Arts then comes in, outnumbers. Hawley comes in, outnumbers around that contest. Arts takes the ball forward, scrambles the kick forward. It was just a floater, really. Jack makes a contest inside their forward 50. Butler's up at ground level, and then unselfishly, which you love. That's what we've come accustomed to with Richmond. The unselfishness that they've been able to show. That passage of play was Richmond.
Last 2 goals of the match. The Tigers trying to claw their way back. Chol one down the tap. Burgess overran the footy. A chance still for Richmond. Cochin can't get a kick away. Edwards on all, Graham on all fours trying to knock it out.
Just looking, the matchup has changed with Asprey and Ben King. Grimes is now going to King. Asprey's just having to work out his matchup at the moment. He's on David Swallow.
Chol tapped it down straight to Fiorini. His kick was smothered though for the Suns. He dives back in there, bows the other direction. Cochin on the very bottom of the pack, and the ball isn't coming clear with a lot of players around this stoppage in the middle of Docklands.
26 points apiece. Chol palms it down. Rankin for the Suns has it stripped from him. Flanders had it. A little fumble cost him. He's locked up straight away. And a ball up again in the middle.
The Tigers are starting to muscle up a bit, aren't they? They're starting to get some more people around that ball and wanting to have a contest.
Well, 12 tackles in this quarter, so they've doubled.
Big difference.
Their first quarter.
From the ball up, spits out to Fiorini, turns, kicks inside the forward arc, on the hop, Corbett collects half forward, hand pass back to Ellis, onto his right boot, kicks it in the Swallow direction, in from the side, McIntosh spoils, bounces away from Bolton, Flanders collects, he lost it in the tackle, McIntosh, now for the Tigers, hurried kick out of the defensive arc, Cochin and Rao compete, ball spits out to Fiorini, Cochin butters up, hurried kick from Fiorini into the pocket, and off hands it spills down the Tigers' way, Pickett in the back pocket to Asprey, and now he links up with Ross.
Kicks a barrel out of defence towards Jack Rewald, who flew against Ballard, couldn't take the mark. Ballard tried to soccer it forward, lucky he didn't make any contact. Rewald got it forward to Bolton, who gets it forward to Dusty, who feeds it away to Arts. Here go the Tigers, back to Dusty, great link up. Can Martin finish? Snaps on the right, you bet he can. Richmond at their best. The fluency from the Tigers, which we haven't seen too much of tonight, which started on half back and finished in the hands of Martin. As Dusty comes to the bench for a breather, 5-2-32 Richmond to the Suns, 3-8-26. 18 minutes gone, second term.
No doubt that they were shaken at quarter time. No doubt that they were told, you've got to lift your game a little bit. 6 tackles in the first quarter. They've already had 12 or 15 so far. The actual run and chase there with Bolton and Martin was just spectacular goal from him. The handball and the exchange and the share and care from each other. They're starting to look like a side now. They've got some contest in their game. They're really running hard. They're putting pressure on their opposition, and that's the Tigers that we love and know, but we haven't seen it for a while.
So in the first quarter, Gold Coast were overwhelming Richmond with run. Richmond's last 2 goals have overwhelmed the Gold Coast just with their running power.
Haven't had a single score now for 13 minutes, the Gold Coast Suns. After kicking the first goal of this second quarter, the last 3 for the Tigers. And it's Richmond back in front. They lead it by 6 points. Bolton darting away out the middle with the centre break. Kicks it deep. Coleman Jones, top of the goal square. Ballard, so Lukosius spoils down to Ballard. Hands it back to Lukosius. Now to Miller, who's all the way in the back pocket. Kicks to Swallow.
So this is where you want your leaders now, Corb, just to slow the game down. And take the life out of the game for a couple of minutes. That's dangerous.
Swallow, the captain, to centre half back, and Pickett floats through, takes the intercept mark inside the centre square. A little casual, almost mowed down by Bose. Kick scrambles away to Castagna. Hand pass to Short. Puts it back inside 50, straight for Rewalt. Superb pass from Jaden Short to the far pocket. Got to Rewalt just in the nick of time.
I wonder if Tim Hodges is going to run out in the ground to celebrate his 700th goal.
Oh, probably will. It's his love child, isn't it?
Yeah.
He lost his car driver, his racing car driver.
So Jack Rewalt, he's going to snap across the body. He bends it through from behind. The crowd, those that will wait for the moment.
Come back, Hodgie.
Give me the post, so a minor score. Stuck on 6-9-9, Jack Rewalt, a 7-point lead for the Tigers.
Oh. Here goes the Suns. Raoul through half back to Markov. Round the gauntlet, got it forward to Ainsworth. Thought about the hand pass over the top to Rankin. Now veers out to the right. Drives the Suns into attack. Kicks long. Good pass. Swallow had a lot of it. Had enough.
That's a mark.
Before the ball was knocked out of his hand.
That was good movement by the Suns. From the back half to the forward half and then into Swallow's hands. Good movement. No one else touched it. Mark after mark. And good low kicks instead of the high ones into the forward line.
Looks to be playing across half forward in patches. Sort of rotating through the midfield. The Gold Coast Suns have seen 3 goals put on at the other end from the Tigers. They need their co-captain to step up and lead from the front. Swallow comes in and puts it out to the right.
That's 3 easy ones they've missed, Clinchy.
Oh, more. They've left
That's just in this quarter I'm talking about, you know.
3-9-27 to the Tigers, 5-3-33. The margin is 6.
So first score since the 6-minute mark of the quarter. We've now travelled 21 and a half. Short, a long kick out the wing. Lukosius got hands to it, can't mark, spills to Markov, hand pass away to Fiorini, high up and under to half forward, and Day comes out to meet it, takes the mark. 65 from home, left half forward, kicks towards the hot spot. Whistle on the play, free kick. It's a hold, it's a Richmond free.
That kick plays into Richmond's hand.
It does.
It's a touch higher, so it allows Richmond's defenders to drop off and come in and help spoil there. Grimes, Loston, done it for so many years now. They're so good at it.
Grimes held in the marking contest, so he'll get the free kick. Last line for Richmond. They lead by 6 points. Time on in the second. Long kicks at turnover. Lukosius takes the intercept mark on the wing.
Impressive mark from the South Australian against the bigger Coleman Jones. Kicks into the pocket. Corbett behind. Whistle for a hold. Richmond's way again. Grimes to take it. Almost in the same spot.
It's just the same thing all over again. Yep. Free kick, long to Lukosius, long back.
Cut, copy, paste. Grimes rushes his call to play on. It's a barrel which may work. Cochin in front position takes the mark. Didn't get purchase on it. Moves it around the Docks wing in front of Graham. Took Miller off his chase. Graham taps it towards the boundary line. Miller lays the tackle as soon as he took possession and escorts him over the boundary line. So the Tigers are 3-1 in this second quarter. They've made their move after trailing by a goal at quarter time.
Tuke Miller's got 19 now.
6-point lead for the Tigers, 23 played in the second.
Make it 20.
Both rucks miss it. Burgess down to Miller. Hand pass in front of Lemons, a little loose. Ainsworth passes through, went without it. Edwards wins it for Richmond to Dusty. Away to Ross. Hurried kick to half forward. Castagna under pressure. Gives it to Coleman. Jones goes to ground, but clever. Paddles it back inboard to Castagna's advantage. Hands it to Cochin. Off to Hooley through the centre square. Kicks for Arts. Takes the mark front edge of the centre square at centre half forward. Open side, kicks to Chol in the pocket. And he's out to meet it and takes the mark. Just put it out into space. And Mathieu Chol runs onto it. 30 metres out right half forward for Richmond.
They're starting to make mincemeat of them, aren't they? Changing the way they play. More aggressive.
Just outnumbering.
Yeah, more aggressive at the ball, more aggressive at everything they're doing. Coming out of their slumber, if that's what it's called.
He carried a finger injury into the night. He and Vlosten both under a cloud during the week, both playing. Big Mathieu Chol, he misses. Got a little skinny to the near side. So Gold Coast are 3-9. Richmond are now 5-4. It's a 7-point lead again for the Tigers. It's their biggest lead of the night. 24.5 minutes played in the second term, and the scoring's dried up for the Suns.
What's been the biggest change for you, Rama, in this match?
I think Richmond are just starting their running now. First quarter, they were stagnant. Gold Coast were running past them. Now, particularly their last 2 goals, they've been very Richmond-esque goals where they've surged the ball. Hasn't been perfect at all. It's been they've got that surge mentality back again.
Lopatius inside the defensive 50, risky kick. Collins takes the mark as Pickett came flying in from the side. Works it to King at half forward. Up at full stretch. He marks in front of Grimes.
Grimes did a really professional job there, holding him down too.
Yeah, the Suns are on the break. So Ben King veers out to the right, puts it into the corridor. It's not a bad kick. Suited for Day. In front position, couldn't hang on to the mark. It's a smaller Hooley. The umpire will throw it up 30 metres out from the Gold Coast Suns goal.
It's the one goal for them this quarter, came at the 6-minute mark. 26 now into the second term. Tigers by 7, close to the Suns goal. Coleman Jones whacks it down. Pickett went without it. King collects, takes on the Pickett tackle, threw it out to Swallow. Says it's okay. No one guarding the goal line. Swallow, he's kicked it. It's bounced through. And one they needed completely against the flow of play. King just threw it out to David Swallow. His kick tumbled goalward, and Asprey couldn't make it back. Suns within a point. Stroke of half-time. Richmond 5-4-34. Gold Coast 4-9-33.
Well, it's just a fluky one through the middle of the ground. But David Swallow is a really good player. Understanding he's played in the midfield all his life, been terrific, and a great captain of this footy club. Hung in there. That's their first goal for the quarter. The Suns' second goal for the quarter. I apologise, but they've been scrambling between. I think probably 20 minutes between each goal was really the timing, and that's a long time ago between goals. So they got one out of the middle. They've moved the ball okay, but the Tigers have won the quarter. They've got themselves back into some sort of mode of aggressiveness, and they're winning the game so far.
So approaching half time. Burgess wins down the tap, got it to Fiorini, back to Swallow. Here go the Suns one last time, kicks inside 50. In the end, an uncontested mark for Ainsworth. He marks on his chest directly in front, 45 metres out from goal.
And a chance to kick this. Big chance.
So for after all of Richmond's work in this second quarter, the Suns could find themselves back in front at half time.
And cleared by Swallow again.
Ainsworth back in the side after booting 3 in the VFL a couple of weeks ago. Trying to get his opportunity in season 2021. Ben Ainsworth from just on 50. Good kick. Just faded to the left late, and a minor scores.
Third behind.
Scores level at 34 apiece. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Yes, concern for the Suns. Josh Corbett, who was so good in that first quarter, just came off the ground, spoke to the doctor. They've taken him straight down to the race. It looked like an ankle or a leg issue.
Andrew McPherson, the Suns sub, yet to be used. A long ball out of defence from Hooley up to the broadcast wing. Spills down towards Ballard. Gives it to Ellis. Back to Ballard. Kick smothered. Ricochets to Markov. Hooks it back inboard, but a turnover. And Collier Dawkins takes the intercept mark at half back for the Tigers. Lays off a hand pass to Short. Bangs it down the wing. Lynch the target. Ballard up in front. Takes the intercept mark. nice player for the Suns, Charlie Ballard, over the last couple of years. Now up to 62 games for the 21-year-old.
It's with Lynch 6 weeks out, and it looks like every bit of 6 weeks. His timing is just... It's way out at the minute. Like, Ballard shouldn't have marked that ball.
He goes wide to Bose. Bose long down the line, and Day takes the pack mark in front of everyone. There's about 6 or 7 behind him. He's 70 out, puts it deep in the King direction. Locked up with Pickett close to the boundary line, and then Ross in the end just wanted the safety of the boundary. Hump a little forgiving, says chuck that in. And Pickett just took his eyes straight off the footy to make contact with Ben King. And after all that, a boundary throw in deep forward for the Suns. Scores level 29 minutes into the second term.
And not long to go.
Burgess in front position, trying to tap it down. Flipped over the back by Collier Dawkins. Got it to the advantage of Baker, and then out to Naish off the outside of the boot. Pushes, he got his kick away by Ellis, and it sends it out on the full. So Brandon Ellis, the former Tiger.
How many seconds on the clock, Sellers?
5.
Ooh.
Handful.
I think Ellis knows, or maybe he does. He veers out to the right. A free kick downfield.
They went in the
top
goal
of the goal square. So a certainty.
Probably one now.
And the free kick is going the way
against
of
Grimes. Should be going to Ainsworth.
Ben Ainsworth, who's kicked 3 behind so far.
He couldn't miss from here, could he?
Well, stranger things have happened, Sellers.
You reckon?
Ainsworth, after the halftime siren, to put the Gold Coast Suns in front of the main break, comes in and puts it through. So the Suns finish with a bit of a flurry after the halftime siren, after the Tigers kicked 3 goals on the trot in that second term. The Suns finish with the last 2 goals of the half and the lead. A 6-point advantage, 5-10-40 to the Tigers, 5-4-34. The Suns led by 6 points at quarter time. 2 goals to Ben King, individuals to Swallow, Corbett, and now Ainsworth. Meanwhile for the Tigers, individual goals to Martin, Naish, Revolt, Lynch and Bolton.
Half-time on Grandstand AFL, the start of round 16. All 18 AFL clubs in Melbourne tonight. 8 of the 9 games fixtured to be played in Victoria this weekend. The Suns with a little bit of a trot up as they run off the ground at half-time. And really, Richmond looked like they were about to take over in that term. We had 4 lead changes in that first half of footy. And the Suns trotting away towards the change rooms at the Coventry end of the ground, or the southern end here at Docklands. 5-10 to 5-4. 6-point lead for the Suns. Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure on Grandstand AFL. What were your impressions of that half of footy?
Well, I think the Suns deserve their lead. You look at that; it's 15 scoring shots to 9. The Suns clearly they left some goals out there. Ainsworth 1 goal, 3, and the 3 that he missed, all very, very gettable. Burgess hits the post from point blank range, where he took a really good mark just outside of the goal square. What I've liked with the Suns, there's been an urgency about their ball movement, and I think when they've been urgent moving the ball forward, that's opened up leading lanes, as clubs like to call them now, for Ben King. The Ben King matchup has worried Richmond. Asprey started on him. Ben King was far too agile, far too quick for Asprey. The change is made. Grimes goes to him. Grimes, undisciplined, late in that quarter, gives away the free kick to Ainsworth in the goal square for the goal. So the Suns, with what we've been seeing in recent weeks, look lifeless. They've looked lifeless. They've looked, it's not disinterested, probably the wrong word, but probably lacked a little bit of soul with the way they're played. Tonight, there's urgency in the tackle, there's urgency in the contest, there's urgency in their ball movement, there's urgency the way they're defending.
Does that say something about Richmond? Are they actually competitive enough in this competition now? For the last 2 weeks, last week against St Kilda, no. We know that for sure. They backed up again. Are they competitive enough against a side who's in the bottom 3?
Richmond played 8 minutes of football in that half.
I know, exactly right.
In the second quarter, 8 minutes where you go, that is Richmond's identity right there. Surge the ball, dump kicks out of their back line, run onto it, Castagna tackle, loose ball, outnumber our contest. Ball over the other city side of the ground, pops out. Arts to Martin. Bolton's involved. Surging, not perfect. Richmond don't play. They don't want to play a perfect game. When they try play a perfect game, that's what actually gets them into trouble. They need to play a game of unpredictability almost.
Yeah, chaos.
Chaos.
That's their game.
So you look now at Richmond's forward line. Lynch is probably not having really any impact. Like I said, he looks like he's missed all of those 6 weeks. Jack's been okay. He's got his hands on the ball. He's had some shots at goal. He's missed a couple. He looks like their most dangerous forward. So how do they move Lynch? Okay, almost into a decoy role for the second half to allow the match-up with Ballard and Rewalt. And he's got the space to move in. I think that's critical to the second half and how it's going to play. Allow Rewalt the space and time he needs. They've got to do something about Took Miller. He's had 22 possessions in that first half. He's had 5 clearances.
I think Graham's gone to him already.
4 of those were centre bounce.
Yeah, Graham's gone to him at times outside the centre bounce.
Here, when you're playing at the Docklands, centre clearances are critical.
Gold. Yeah,
because the ball just moves so quick, doesn't allow your midfielders to flow down and stop it. So how they do that? Miller's got 22, Lukosius has got 16. For Fiorini, 14. Then you look over the other side, Martin, 12.
Yep.
Grimes, 11.
Yeah. That's
Bolton, 11. Baker, 11.
So the only midfielders in there are Martin and Bolton, the ones who have actually touched the ball. Where are the rest of them? What are they actually doing? I mean, this is the point for me. They have no drive through their midfield, the bunch in the midfield, and they have none. And the first half was Lynch in the first quarter.
Prefer to apply pressure at the contest to allow their defenders then to intercept mark with a rush kick, and then that's how they play the game.
And then they chaos up the way.
But right at the moment, there's not enough pressure around the contest to do that. So, look, Richmond will be relatively happy going into this halftime break with a 6-point margin. The Gold Coast, fantastic. Well done.
Do you think they'll be happy against the Gold Coast?
The way they're playing, they'll be they played 10 minutes of football, sellers.
Yeah, I understand
and they're
that.
a goal behind.
But will they play 10 minutes of footy in the next quarter? That's the point. You can't pick and choose what you're going to do.
I'm more interested in the Gold Coast now. They've had a good half of football, one good half of football against what we all consider still the best team. Okay, but now can they double up and do 2 halves and get a great win Thursday night? A lot of people watching, not a lot of people at the ground, but there'll be a lot of people watching the game. Earn some respect back. Started to get some respect back as a football club.
They've been notorious for having fade-outs, the Gold Coast Suns. I'm interested, do you know when you're in a part of a successful era when all of a sudden everything becomes hard? Like you can see it from Richmond, and Damien Hardwick kind of alluded to it last week against St Kilda. There was no flair, there was no easiness in the way they transitioned the ball, and it feels a bit that way for Richmond, apart from the little patches where you see their best for about 5 or 6 minutes.
See, every side plays their grand final against you every week because they're the top of the tree, and they come with the most they can come to test themselves against you. And in the end, you get a bit worn out. I'm telling you, it happens. It happens.
You're tired.
It wears you
frustrated,
down.
which you saw in the
You
first
get
quarter.
frustrated. Yep.
Little thing like Grimes there.
Things make you annoyed.
Grimes, 5 seconds. Damien Hardwick would have been ropeable in the box seeing that. Like, Ainsworth, a little small forward buzzing around, gets under your skin. Okay, no worries. But Grimes, to the way he ripped his jumper back and forth, it's always going to be a free kick.
Yeah, because he was angry.
That's right.
You don't need to get angry. What you've got to do is get even, and that's the key. And you got to keep sparking yourself and testing yourself and put some new. I know they've put too many kids in this side at this stage. You know what I mean? And they're not playing to the standards that they're required to. But you need to build up with someone. You just can't turn up with just stars every week because they get hurt.
You know it's over when what you expect of your teammate that he could do, he can't do it anymore.
Can't do it anymore, that's right.
And that's when it looks hard.
And there must be questions about that in Richmond's midfield at the moment. Because as you touched on, clearances were never that much of an issue because everything else covered up for it.
See, the tackle count they had in the second quarter was, I think they had 15 or something in the second quarter. 15 tackles. They've had 6 in the first and 9 in the second, or 10 in the second or something like that.
They've had 15 tackles in the second quarter.
Yeah, second quarter. So, there was a lift there. And that's really on effort only. Yeah. It's not hard to be a tackler.
Now, we know they've got injuries, the Tigers.
Yeah, we have. We know that.
The way they play, their system covers up injuries usually. The system now is being challenged. Teams are happy to challenge their system.
Yeah,
because they've worked out a way to play against them.
You know why they're being challenged? Because they're getting lazy. Yeah. They're getting lazy. And you can watch it and you can see it. And that's the problem with Damien Hardwick. He knows it, he can see it, but he can't say it.
Now, they'll probably come out and win by 10 goals.
They may.
But
they're inconsistent.
They're inconsistent.
But
that's the key.
They've got their challenges in the next 8 weeks of the season.
But I think people people driving home on the West Coast or driving home from work tonight, and they would be tuning in at halftime and seeing that scoreline, the Suns up by 6 points. They probably thought the Tigers would come out and flush them out right from the start. It hasn't been that through the first half of footy. We've got a game on our hands.
Because they're not up to where they should be.
Yep.
What we expect of them. Yep. And they expect of themselves.
5-10-40, the Gold Coast, Richmond to 5-4-34. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie, any news from downstairs concerning the health of both teams?
Just watching Darcy McPherson, the Gold Coast medical sub. He's out there in the middle doing a full warm-up, guys, which is unusual at half-time. So I'm just wondering whether we have made contact with the Gold Coast Suns media manager, Tom Beverley, just to see what the latest is with Josh Corbett, who went down to the rooms about 5 minutes to go before the halftime siren. Just as we speak, McPherson is going to be running off. I just wonder whether he's going to be activated into the game. So, so he's being assessed for a head knock, Josh Corbett, we're told by the Suns media department. So it will be interesting to see what happens early in the third quarter, whether McPherson comes in or whether Corbett is okay to start in the third.
Thanks, Hodgie. We'll check in after the news. The teams are out, of course, for the rest of the weekend. And there's also confirmation that the game between Adelaide and Brisbane will go ahead as scheduled. So that's a 4:05 start local time, 4:35 Eastern on Saturday at Adelaide Oval. The Crows and the Lions to be played at Adelaide Oval. For everything else that's happening in the world, let's see what's going on in the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with Glenn Lauder. The federal opposition seized on comments by the Finance Minister Simon Birmingham about Australia's access to COVID-19 vaccines. Senator Birmingham's admitted that global supply challenges had put countries like Australia at the back of the queue for imported vaccines. Labor frontbencher Tony Burke says that's in contrast to previous government assurances that Australia was first in line.
We've made the point for a while that from where Australia was positioned, you couldn't even see the front of the queue. And Simon Birmingham has now acknowledged Australia is at the back of the queue on vaccines.
The UK's medical regulators investigating the death of a woman who received her first dose of AstraZeneca in Australia. Australia's Therapeutic Goods Administration says the woman died in the UK 5 weeks after receiving the vaccine. The TGA says while some of her symptoms and pathology tests suggest that a rare blood clotting condition could be linked to AstraZeneca, she also had a very serious and underlying health condition. UK authorities have ordered a post-mortem to assess whether that condition, along with the impact of her long journey from Australia, played a part in her death. The Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews, says people who are concerned about getting vaccinated should speak to their doctor. The federal government on Monday indemnified GPs to offer AstraZeneca to anybody over 18, but several state premiers and their medical advisors have raised concerns about the new guidance. Mr Andrews says people shouldn't take advice about getting the COVID vaccine from politicians.
So the best thing to do is not to be getting your epidemiological or your vaccination advice from politicians. Talk to your GP. That's what I would ask Victorians to do.
An announcement on whether the lockdown of Perth and the Peel region will continue beyond Friday is expected tomorrow morning. As James Carmody reports, there were no new locally acquired cases today.
There's been record levels of COVID-19 testing and contact tracing in WA, but the Premier Mark McGowan says the next 24 hours will be crucial to form a clear picture on whether it's safe for the 4-day lockdown to end as planned at 12:01am on Saturday.
We just need to keep it up for a little more time.
He says people are generally following the rules, but he has condemned reports of tourists in the Kimberley ignoring bans on entering remote communities.
No one wants a COVID outbreak in a remote Aboriginal community.
Perth's northern suburbs cluster remains at 4 cases.
A European Union-wide QR-coded COVID-19 vaccine passport comes into force from today. Here's the BBC's Bethany Bell.
Travel during the pandemic has been complicated, involving entry forms and tests and vaccination certificates issued in a variety of different languages, which airline and border control staff can't always understand. The EU's new digital COVID certificate aims to streamline things. It's a document with a QR code which you can print or download on your phone. The certificates, which are issued by national authorities, are recognised across the EU. There are hopes that other countries will also be able to participate in the scheme.
Protests in Hong Kong are growing on the anniversary of a new national security law, as well as the anniversary of the territory's return to Chinese control in the 90s. Banners are being held up by police, warning demonstrators in the Causeway Bay shopping district that they're in breach of the law, and the territory's Victoria Park has been closed. 3 people have been arrested over the protest already. Police Commissioner Raymond Su Chak Yi had this warning for people going to protests.
We decided that the best approach is to close the Victoria Park. Once we close, any person who still enters or remains in the closed area is subject to a maximum penalty of 12 months.
The former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is hosting the Austria World Summit, a precursor event to the COP26 UN Climate Conference later in the year. COP26 President-designate Alok Sharma is in Vienna for the summit and will meet with the Austrian President and the Austrian Chancellor, alongside ministers, business leaders and climate activists and experts. Mr Schwarzenegger, who organised the talks, says that the aim of the lead-up events is to ensure individual countries attend the November summit with a clear plan, like the one he needed to become Mr. Universe.
How many reps they need to do, what exercises, what machines they have to use. I had to really write down everything specifically. That's how you get there. And this is, I think, the important thing also for every country that promises they're going to be carbon neutral by the year 2040 or whatever. Let me see that blueprint.
For more news at any time, you can head to abc.net.au/news.
For the latest sports results and stories from around the globe and at home, check out ABC Sport on our social pages. Just search ABC Sport wherever you scroll. Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app. Join Yumi Steins as she delves into taboo topics in Ladies We Need to Talk.
If I straightened my hair, I was fitting in, and if I didn't, then I was suddenly sort of a Black Panther or something.
Or immerse yourself in the life of someone else in conversations with Richard Feidler and Sarah Konoski.
I remember hearing this tremendous roar, and then the boat was literally picked up and thrown upside down.
Open your ears to the world with the ABC Listen app.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Lukosius on the 50-metre drop punt to Burgess. Marks kicks inside the pocket.
King.
There's King. Ben King hitting up and marking. Right forward pocket for the Suns. He'll kick from 20 out. Ben King. Slide angle, right half forward. Moves in, dumps it. The Suns finally getting some reward.
Graham, it's over his head though. He taps it forward. The South Australians onto it. He runs away from Fiorini, kicks inside the 50. Revolt the target, free kick. Jack Revolt pretty much directly in front. 25 metres out. They need their spearhead to step up here. Revolt comes in and this time puts it through. Goal number 699 of his career, an important one for Richmond in this contest.
Lynch at the back, 3 Suns go up, spills down to Revolt, kicks across the half-forward line and Bolton takes it millimetres off the turf at centre-half forward, plays on from 40 out, turns, whacks it straight through the middle. Shea Bolton from 45 out, and midway through the second term, we're all knotted up again.
Revolt got it forward to Bolton, who gets it forward to Dusty, who feeds it away to Arts. Here go the Tigers, back to Dusty, great link up. Can Martin finish? Snaps on the right, you bet he can. Richmond at their best.
Close to the Suns' goal. Coleman Jones whacks it down. Pickett went without it. King collects. Takes on the Pickett tackle. Threw it out to Swallow. Says it's okay. No one guarding the goal line. Swallow. He's kicked it. It's bounced through. And one they needed completely against the flow of play.
Baker and then out to Nash off the outside of the boot. Pushes, he got his kick away by Ellis and it sends it out on the full. A free kick downfield.
They went in the
top
goal
of the goal square. So a certainty. Van Ainsworth has kicked 3 behind so far. Ainsworth after the halftime siren to put the Gold Coast Suns in front of the main break. Comes in and puts it through.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
Suns by 6 at half-time, Suns by 6 at quarter-time. We had 4 lead changes in that first half of footy. Corbin Middlemass, Matt Clench, Adam Ramanauskas, Mark McClure And Tim Hodges is on the boundary. And Hodgie, we got some news down on the boundary. What's the latest?
Yeah, the Gold Coast Suns have activated their medical sub, Corbin. So Darcy McPherson comes into this game. Unfortunately, Josh Corbett, who was so good early in this game, is out with concussion. You might remember, guys, when he went down to the race, I thought he must have had an ankle or leg injury, but it turns out he was so wobbly on his legs that it was a concussion. They wanted to get him in the rooms as soon as they could, and once they realised he was no good, that's why they brought McPherson out during the halftime break to give him a full warm-up. So he is into this game and out on the field to start the third term.
Thanks, Hodgie. Just confirmation that game will start at 4:05 local time on Saturday at Adelaide Oval. It'll be the Crows and the Lions. So as planned, which is good news, 4:35 Eastern is when the bounce will take place. Saturday twilight game between the Crows and the Lions. Quick team news. Matt de Boer, the biggest name to be dropped, part of the Giants leadership group. Mumford and Tom Green both come back. Lockie Neal and Nat Fyfe have both been named at this stage for their respective teams. Darcy Fogarty's been dropped by Adelaide, while Levi Casbolt is back for Carlton. Sam Doherty's out injured, and Jordan De Goey among the ins for the Sunday game for the Pies. Second half action upon us here on Grandstand AFL. Here with Matt Clinch.
Joel and Burgess to kick things off once more. Joel one down the tap and then tried to get the clearance over the foot, top of the foot. He couldn't get a disposal away. Cochin with a little toe poke, got it forward. Bolton ridden into the turf. He'll get a free kick. And Shea Bolton trying to spark Richmond into action. Veers out to the right, long kick inside 50. In from the side, Powell spoiled it down. Lynch onto it, wrestling with the footy. And Lukosius can't be separated, and the umpire will toss it up. So Tim Hodges right on that. Josh Corbett injury at halftime. That's why he's one of the best in the business. Doesn't often join us away from the Friday night, so good to have his company tonight. Dusty Martin can't break clear. It comes to Bolton. He's got space. Chips it towards McIntosh. Waited in the air a bit too long. And Sharp in from the side. Spoils it down for the Suns. Gets it to Ainsworth. Over his head. Clever hand pass to Lukosius. Needs to try and get around Asprey. Kicks end over end towards the boundary line.
No.
Umpire says insufficient intent.
Insufficient intent. Is that a new rule?
So Dow to take the free kick. It's not a new rule, but it's been altered a bit this year. So Richmond have activated their sub as well. So let's go back down. Oh, do you know what it's been for? I think Edwards is out there, so we'll work our way through that.
It's in the middle of the ground.
Yep.
He is.
You got the laptop, Raymond? Does it give you any clues?
No, not yet. It's got obviously Josh Corbett in red.
So Bowes off halfback, couple of bounces, kicks long down the line. Day into the back of Asprey, punches it out of play. He may have got a knee just into the hip of Asprey too. Is a little slow to get back up. They certainly don't tickle. A boundary throw in front of the benches. So Corbett out with concussion, McPherson on.
Coleman Jones is out for Richmond. That's in red.
And Thompson Dow onto the park. So Callum Coleman-Jones out. Both subs made at the half. 6 points the margin. Suns lead the Tigers early stages in the third. Chol breaks 2 tackles. Hand pass in front of Cochin. Sockers at 30 metres of field, but too wide, out of bounds on the full. And the Suns will get it. Lukosius to take it at half back. So Coleman-Jones out, Thompson Dow in.
Lukosius brings it in to Miller. Kicks forward to Matt Rowell, who marks the centre of the dock swing. Can feed the hand pass around the back to Collins, who runs to right half forward. Long kick looking for King. Won't quite get to him. Spoiled away from Ainsworth by McIntosh. And Grimes gathers in the back pocket for Richmond. Hand pass to Hooley. Swoops it over the top on the half volley. Chol had to pick it up. Gave it to Vlosten. He's tackled across the boundary line. Rowell in there, and Sharp with a bit of pushing and shoving. Holman as well. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
The Richmond media department has just said it's a lower leg injury for Coleman-Jones, but they don't know any more than that. But it's serious enough to have taken him out of the game at half-time, so they're still chasing up themselves to try and work out exactly why the sub was activated.
Burgess grabs it out the ruck, hands it to Rao, kicks Suns to the top of the goal square. Lost and back into traffic, spoils. Still alive in the pocket for King. Takes on Grimes, who just slings him by the jumper over the boundary line. And Grimes forces the neutral ball, a boundary throw in forward pocket for the Suns.
Geez, that was courageous by Vlosten. Going back into that, he's come up very sore from that contest.
He carried in a corked quad, and he's Barely moving at the moment as he gets up and tries to run it out from the boundary throw in down to Edwards. Hand pass to Naish. Long kick out of the defensive arc for the Tigers.
Well played.
When Lemons is able to take the mark on his chest in a one-on-one with Dusty. Veers out to the right into the 50 once more. Needing a flyer. Brought down by Burgess. Sexton front and centre. Steps on goal and kicks it. The Suns in the opening 4 minutes open up a 2-goal advantage. They're 6-10-46 to the Tigers 5-4-34. 4 minutes gone, third term. Ahead of Rammer and Sellers, down to Tim Hodges.
Well, guys, you can see this. Nick Vlosten is coming towards the bench. He had a major question mark coming over his name all week. He was actually listed as questionable by the club after that massive corky he copped last week. So he looks very, very sore. Just beside him is Trent Cotchin, who is off with a very bloody nose. He's not even letting the doctor near his nose. And then it's not good for news for Gold Coast either. Sam Collins came off and he's gone down to the rooms with the doctor as well. So there's carnage everywhere down here.
Collins' first game back from an ankle, missed the last 3.
If you pick people who are sore, foolish you, I think, because the Tigers, it's a rugged game, this. It's a brutal game. And then people will pick on you if you actually are in that shape. So actually, the Suns have been very good. They've just kept peppering away and keep peppering away, and all of a sudden they're scoring.
Suns with the last 3. They lead by 12 points. Back in the middle, Chol wins it. But it's first possession of Burgess. Hand pass out to Miller. Kicks to the wing and Ainsworth marks. 12-point lead for the Suns. 6-10 to 5-4. And again, the Avalanche has started the red and gold way in the opening term. Long kick from Ainsworth to the pocket. Falls out the back to Hawley. Tries to mop it up for the Tigers. Kicks out of the defensive arc. Powell there. Powell spoils. Close to the boundary line. Sharp keeps it alive. Tumbles his kick inside 50. Going to ground Ross. Scooped up by Holman. Slick hands away to Ainsworth. Sharp angle. Kicks the drop punt on the boundary line, but it's out on the full.
Oh, that's 6. Everything. That was his 6th shot on goal.
Yeah, he should have put it to the top of the square.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference. So Flanders in the second quarter does that, and they get a goal out of it.
Took Miller's at 24. Amazing.
Hawley's long kick out of defence. Arts used his body and gave away the free kick. So the Suns will take it at right half forward.
So did a Richmond player drop that?
Powell.
Drop which?
Oh, it's turned around somehow.
So off the ball in the kick inside the 50, there's been an illegal block, and it's coming back to Jake Arts, who will take it at left half back. So the umpire's still not happy. So the ball's going to come back to Arts. Bit of confusion at the moment as everyone's trying to work out exactly who's in control of the game.
No one.
That's probably a fair assessment. The Suns with the opening goal the second half. Sees them out by 12 points. And the
Tigers are unsure too, and you look at them, they're so unsure, it's incredible.
Being really challenged on a Thursday night. Arts with the kick around the dog swing. Lukosius in Ballard, in fact it was in front position. Marks on his chest in front of Tom Lynch, who's really struggling to have any sort of impression in this match.
It's the 1 goal for Lynch tonight. He kicked Richmond's first in the opening term. So Ballard down the right half forward and getting in front. King takes the mark, lays off the hand pass to the running Ainsworth. Kicks inside 50. Target was Day. Asprey spoils close to the boundary line. Rankin skids in. Hawley locks him up. He could be in trouble, Rankin. He got the ball out somehow. Rao keeps it alive.
That's a kick.
Hands it to Sharp. Kicks to top of the goal square. Spoil from Naish. Through for a minor score. Suns by 13. Equal game high, 7.5 into the third. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Well, Nick Vlosten has been to the rooms for the Tigers. He's now back. I think he's just got a really sore right leg, and it's really sore still. So I think he's just going to have to plough on because they've made the medical sub, and they need him there. And Sam Collins, just as I speak, has just emerged from the Suns' rooms as well, so he's back out there.
Baker tried to go long to Dusty Lemons, took the intercepting mark, long kick inside 50, but Grimes, as he does so well with an intercepting mark flying from the left. Richmond find a way out of defence. Chips it across the goal face to Ross. He gave it to Short. Kick missed. Tooley. Holman onto it. Late whistle.
Before.
A hold. The umpire in the middle of the ground is signalling, so it's going to be a Richmond free kick. It's come a bit ticky touchwood in this third quarter.
How are we free kick count? Is there a lot of them? It feels like there's been a lot of intervention.
I'll let you know. Free kicks. Free kicks, 13-13.
26. So the game average this year is 37 for a game. So we're tracking ahead of that at the time being. As the Tigers go short to Ross, who marks still inside the defensive 50, half-back. Long kick down the wing. In from the side, Collins. The double fister gets it going forward for the Suns. It'll sit for Miller on half forward. Hand pass to Fiorini. Hits up Ben King, who takes the mark. And all really from the spoil of Sam Collins. Just banged it forward. The Suns all over it. And King marking uncontested 40 out at right half forward.
Yeah, but it came with a rush of two players who went to the contest and picked it up. And just a little quick handball and then onto the chest to King. This is well within his range.
36-16 for the year. Ben King skips in at right half forward. He's wearing the crown tonight. The leading forward on the ground. Ben King's got 3. And the Suns have a new high water mark this evening. They're out by 19 points at the 10-minute mark of the third term. Gold Coast 7-11-53. Richmond 5-4-34. Grandstand AFL.
So far so good this quarter for the Suns, Sells. We said the challenge for them was how can they reproduce their first half into a second half. Now we're only 10 minutes into this quarter, but again they've got the urgency about them. You look at the Collins spoiled there. They've got the aggression about them. You look at the Fiorini lowering his eyes. They've got the skill level about them. So it's all ticks at this stage for the Suns.
I want to ask you a question. When the Tigers always got hurt and when they were getting beaten like this, who starts it? Cochin? Well, I haven't seen him do anything, Cochin. I don't care where he's come from, Odgie. Seriously. He's not doing a thing. He's not charging in. He's not hurting. Guess what? He gets it straight away.
There he is on cue. Cochin alongside Martin and Shea Bolton in the middle for the Tigers.
But you've got to contribute.
Reigning premiers need a response here. Cochin trying to lift his side. Having been off the ground with a bloodied nose.
I don't think he's that fit either, by the look of him.
Pickett can't break clear his tackle. The umpire will toss it up once more to the left of the 2 centre circles. A lot of players around this ball. Day wins down the tap for the Suns. Cochin trying to drive his way through. Can't get it clear once more. So he's had about 3 repeat efforts there, the Tigers captain, but for no avail so far.
I think he's had a burst from the coach too, because he's been poor.
19 points, the Suns lead, still in the middle of the ground trying to get this centre clearance. Cochin somehow squeezes a kick out off his knees to Thompson Dow. His hand pass though went straight to Miller, who's been everywhere, goes back to Lemons, it kicks out wide, and Ellis, the former Tiger, marks on the wing. Gold Coast with all the momentum, last 4 in the game. Short kick to Swallow. And the captain on the dock wing as he kicks to right half forward. Tries to find King, knocked away by Grimes, spills to short. Richmond off half back, hand pass to Baker. Short kick to McIntosh. There's a whistle, a free kick, advantage applied, and McIntosh will take it. Left half back for the Tigers.
He's on the right, kicks long towards Tom Lynch. He comes out, got a shove from Ballard, and trailing behind Jack Revolt takes the mark. Left half forward, thought about the hand pass back to McIntosh.
That's not in his game.
Chips it inboard to Dusty at full stretch. He takes the mark. He's 55 metres out from home.
He can make this.
No.
Yes, he can. What do you mean? No,
we're not going to find out.
Cochin takes the mark. No, we're not. Cochin looks into the pocket, kicks out in front of Lynch. Ballard used his body well, but Lynch juggled the mark.
They needed that, Lynch.
He has it in the right forward pocket, 35 metres out from goal.
How many times have been inside 50 this quarter, Raymond? 2?
That was their second.
That's their second in
8-2 this quarter.
Minutes. 12 and a half minutes.
So the Tigers trailing by 19 points. They're being tested by the Gold Coast Suns. Tom Lynch, quiet first half. 1 goal next to his name. Can he give them a lift here? It's a good kick, and it's straight through the middle. The Tigers' first goal of the second half comes at the 13-minute mark as they close the gap back to 13. 6-4-40 to the Gold Coast Suns, 7-11-53. Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure with you.
Well, they're patchy, Richmond. Every now and then they get a kick in, and it has to be a special moment for them to win the ball. I mean, I don't see any cohesion really in their play from centre and to go forward, and even coming from the back half as well. They're the best when they get it at the back half. They used to be. Are they now? No, they're not. And we're seeing them a little fall from this football side. It doesn't mean they can't get it back. Doesn't mean they can't go to the finals and beat some sides in that area. but it's just, you can see, it's just a different smell to what we've had before.
It's hard
It's a
work
different
for 'em.
smell altogether.
13 points the margin. The Suns lead it. Last goal to Tom Lynch. He's second of the game. Back in the middle. Joel wins it down. Dusty tried to sock it away. Turns out okay for Edwards. Gets the centre clearance. Out to half forward for the Tigers. Bowes whacks it towards the boundary line. Bolton for the Tigers keeps it alive. Hand pass to Graham. Kicks hurriedly inside 50. Hand on it from Cochin. Can't complete the mark. Spills to Ballard. Locked up immediately. Ball spits out. Umpire says play on. McIntosh drilled into the turf by Flanders. And a ball up, 45 out from the Richmond goal. The Tigers trying to ramp it up a gear after falling behind by a game-high 19 points. Suns lead by 2 goals.
Martin doing the ruck work, almost took it against Burgess. It ricocheted the kick back to him. Feeds it back to McIntosh. Kicks long inside the 50. Lynch the target. Clears him. Bounces end over end. It was touched. Might just go upstairs to check.
No, it's touched.
It seemed pretty conclusive though.
You can't believe that hasn't been touched.
I think it was touched, but I'd just like to check upstairs. I think would be the conversation the goal umpire would be having with the field umpire, so we'll have a pause. That goal from Tom Lynch at the 13-minute mark of the third quarter was Richmond's first goal since the 18-minute mark of the second quarter, as Corby touched on. The Suns have kicked 4 consecutive goals in between the last goal for the Tigers.
That dialogue, Clinch, it was almost like you'd heard that conversation before between the field umpire and the goal umpire.
Well, how long does it take to check this, you reckon?
He was confident on the spot, wasn't he? He knew it was a touch ball and thought, oh, if I've got the video, I may as well have a look.
David Roden wouldn't have doubted himself. Come on.
12-point lead for the Suns. Bowes takes the kick out. Long ball out to this City wing. No one touches it. Skids out of play. Says chuck it in as Markov and Pickett chase after the footing.
See, I don't know why they don't do that kick out a long way to even down the middle to get the ball far away from goals as you possibly can. Instead of chip pass to the side.
15 and a half played, third term, Suns by 12 points. Tigers, though, trying to gain some momentum for the boundary throw in. Chol grabs it out the ruck, hands it to Dusty. Hand pass to Edwards, slick hands for Collier Dawkins. Little fumble, spun around, shoots a hand pass forward, but straight to Powell. Off centre half back, gave it to McPherson, he fumbles. He goes back by hand at Markov. Pressure on for the Tigers, Suns maintain possession. Back to Collins, spears his kick to Ellis in the back pocket for the Suns.
Kicks it back to Bowes, who marks in the defensive goal square, and then out to Markov, who has it in the left back pocket. He looks up further afield, and Richmond are well set. Into the corridor he comes. Powell takes the mark. He's got sharp free at left half back, and that is a superb kick. Finds him and space on the dock side, and Sexton streaming clear. He marks it right half forward. Can poke it inside 50 to Flanders. Goes deeper than that to the goal square. Spoiled away from King as Voston came charging in. He was a bit battered and bruised, Nick Voston, but he got there in the nick of time on that occasion.
Hurried kick out from Hawley to McIntosh at half back. 13-point lead for the Suns. They've kicked 4 of the last 5 in the game. Ben King with 3, the most on the ground. Long ball to Chol. Strong mark up in front of Will Powell. He marks defensive side of the wing, City side. Kicks down the right half forward to Lynch in a one-on-one in a tangle with Collins.
Oh, he's beat them both.
Lynch spoils. The footy comes to him at ground level. Hand pass out in front of Dusty. He just needs to pick it up. He can't. Goes to ground. Ballard's tackled without the footy. Says play on. Sockers to Lynch. He bangs it through. Tom Lynch at the end of the soccer. Grabbed the footy, whacked it through in the same motion for the right forward pocket. He's kicked 2 in a row. And the Tigers are back within 7 points. 17 and a half played in the third term. Richmond 7-5-47. The Suns 7-12-54.
Well, that was incredible work by Lynch. He's on the ground, on the thing. He has a contest against 2 there. Knocks it out in front of him, pushes it along the ground. All of a sudden, Dusty's in there fighting away with another couple as well. Like, just chips out. Guess who's there? Lynch has got himself back up off the ground. 6'6", this bloke. A monster. And he picked himself up. He fought against 2. That was a terrific goal by the Tigers. Dusty was involved. And there's a little intent there now. They don't want to be beaten by the look of them. But I'm not certain they can keep themselves lifting and lifting and lifting to beat the Suns. But they're very, very good. The Suns, they're hanging in there. But you just see glimpses of the greatness of the Tigers.
Back-to-back goals for Tom Lynch. Chol back in the middle, wins down the tap for the Tigers, but it's Miller who emerges with it. Bursts clear, kicks into the pocket. Great pass, Day on the lead. didn't have to break stride as he marks on his chest. And for as much and as hard as Richmond have worked at one end, a chance for the Suns to answer back.
That set of clearance again. Critical.
How many disposals he had, Rammer? Took Miller?
Took. He's had...
I'll tell you what he's had.
27.
Correct.
Day out to the left, kicking from 35 metres out. He misses to the right-hand side. Obviously let Peter Wright go in the off-season because Sam Day's body had held up, but he's had his challenges in 2021 and couldn't capitalise there.
5 centre clearances he's had. So
It's a big game.
There's been 14 centre bounces and he's had 5 clearances.
Vlosten trying to spear the pass and the kick out. Castagna can't mark it. Lacoche has got a fist in there. Baker's wrapped up. Half forward for the Suns. They're going to force the stoppage. McPherson stands up with the footy. Pickett tackles him, still in close quarters. The kick ends up with Baker. Back pocket for the Tigers. Richmond can clear. Hands it to Vlosten. Long to Rewalt. One-on-one with Ballard. They both wrestle. The up lets them play. Spills to Ellis. He's tackled. Got a hand pass away. No free kick. Edwards soccers it into the front half for Richmond. Arts out to meet it. Bowled over by Powell. Still no whistle. Arts picks it up. Stands up in the tackle. Hand pass to Pickett. Richmond are through. Gives it to Castagna. His hand pass to Rewalt. He fumbles.
28.
Miller back in the other direction. And up strong is Pickett, who takes the intercept mark on the wing. Richmond maintain possession.
Gave it quickly to Short, who kicks long towards Rewalt, who flew from 2 deep. It comes down with an impressive mark.
Get ready, Hodgie.
Would have been handy.
Not quite the aerial feat we saw against the Adelaide Crows, but no less impressive.
Would have been handy if Will Power had just backed up a little bit and stopped Jack. So his mate could mark the ball, but no.
I don't think he's got the 53 metres. He's probably going to have to kick this.
Imagine he's going to try and use his full 30 seconds as he's a bit ginger as he gets back to his feet.
Ginger hair.
An 8-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns. Jack puts it to the top of the goal square. Doesn't fire on goal. It might work. Castagna flew. Couldn't complete the mark. Art's there. Arm pinned by Miller. That should have been throwing the ball. Swallow with a clearing kick, but how far? Nash spoils it down. Feeds the half pass back. Asprey slipped over. Day over the top of him. Knocks the ball back towards Nash, who socks it, but only as far as Rao. And the Suns are back in control.
He hands it back to Sharp, trying to pinpoint a pass, nothing up ahead, looks into the middle of the ground, dangerous kick. Hooley knocks it to centre half forward for the Tigers, becomes tackler, wraps up. Fiorini and the umpire says ball up, centre half forward for the Tigers. The lead is currently 8 points. The Suns lead the Tigers, but momentum with Richmond having kicked the last 2. Up it goes again at centre half forward. Sliding in there is Sharp. Hand pass to Rao. He's tackled by Dow into his back. Free kick for Rao.
How many people around the ball?
Time on third term, 8-point lead for Gold Coast.
Like the under 10s.
Plenty is the answer to your question. As Rao goes short to Swallow. Spots Markov free at left half back. He takes a bounce and kicks around the city wing. McPherson, the sub, takes the mark. Into the match for Corbett. Dow into the match as well for the Tigers. Coleman Jones out. McPherson kicks long inside the 50. Asprey dropped the mark in the end. Vlosten had to swoop in to try and clean it up. Then he slipped over under enormous pressure. No, Holman fell in his back. Oh, that was a bad error. And that's the way the umpire saw it. And Richmond get out of jail. They'll take the free kick in the right back pocket.
It feels like there's times tonight the whistle just goes away and then there's a flurry of free kicks in like a 5-minute burst as Vlosten goes long down the wing and Ballard in front of the pack takes a juggled mark. So Suns back with it. Short kick to Miller. Again, he's all alone. Between wing and half forward. Turns, goes long to King. Big leap from Rankin. He misjudged his run. And 2 Tigers at the back. Grimes and Hawley. And Grimes left to take the mark. In fact, it was Hawley who had more of it. And Hawley will get it back pocket for Richmond. 7-13 to 7-5. 8-point lead for the Suns. Hawley with the long kick down the city wing. In front, Lynch, who's threatening to pull the game apart. Outmarks Collins at half-back.
At right half-back, Tom Lynch, 3 goals next to his name, drives the ball around the city wing. Markov over his hands, couldn't take it. Miller cleans it up. Got the hand pass away. Oh, in the end, Powell did well to get out of traffic. Got it to Rao. Kick into the middle of the ground. Tough one for Burgess. Put his head over the footy. And he was taken high.
And well
by Pickett. As Pickett His tackle was over the shoulders, got it to Swallow, then to Ellis. Short to McPherson, run down by Mabior Chol. Umpire went to blow his whistle, then didn't. He will now because taken high was a Tiger. That's Basher Hooley. Swallow into the front of him. Switching in the middle of the ground, the umpire put the whistle to his mouth and didn't blow it. It's been a tough night to try and guess them.
Hooley short to Grimes. McPherson, he was top 3 in the BNF back in 2019, and yet is a fringe player now, only 6 games this year. Hold the phone, Grimes' kick ain't good. Back to Hooley. Had to knock it away from King and away to Asprey on the back flank. He goes short to McIntosh, and they work it now out of the defensive half. He looks for Lynch, who's hitting up, and Ballard's over his shoulder. Free kick for Tom Lynch. He's kicked 2 in the quarter, the last 2 of the game. As Clinchy's had 3 for the night. And they're worried about him, the Suns defenders, every time the ball's kicked in his direction. Lynch from the wing looks for Rewald, out to meet it, hands to it, no mark. Slips down to Sharp of the Suns. Hand pass to Miller, off his backside, gets it out to Markov. Slingshot back the other way for the Suns. One-on-one out here with Ainsworth and Grimes. Ainsworth collects, hand pass inside to Swallow. Grimes with the follow-up. Great chase down tackle. Never gave up on the play, and Richmond win it back.
Hooley took the advantage though, could only dribble it into the middle of the ground. Ellis to Rowell, tackled as he got his kick forward to McPherson. The Suns surging forward, looks to right half forward, Holman in front, good spoil. He's reaching over, it was short to see it out of play for the Tigers.
That was that second effort from Dylan Grimes.
Outstanding. Swallow didn't have a lot on inside 50, I think he realised he didn't have 55 in him. Grimes ran him down. Shallow throw in, Burgess in front, taps it down, then becomes the tackler. As the umpire will throw it up at right half forward, Collier Dawkins tackled immediately. The reigning premiers trying to claw their way back into this one, far below their best. Joel tapped it down towards Dow, he tries to gather and keep it in play. He did so cleverly for a moment, but the boundary umpire there on point calls it our play. That's the brother of Paddy Dow. Both of them spent COVID period on their family's fruit farm doing work during COVID.
Good place to be isolated. Plenty of room to branch out.
Oh, who's way?
Free kick again. Suns free kick.
Surprise.
I can't work out what's going on.
It took Miller's going to get it. He was taken high, or in fact tackled without it. Free kick for Miller, 60 out, half forward for the Suns.
He's had 32 coming up.
He's just a constant with his work rate, Miller. That's why I just love him as a player.
He's a great player.
Hands it off to Alice, unloads from 55 out, top of the goal square. They come from all angles, spills down to Sexton. Hand pass to the top of the goal square. Doesn't reach anyone. Picked up by McIntosh in the end for the Tigers, trying to clear. In the end, Sharp runs onto it. He's gang tackled immediately. Ball held in, and we'll have a ball up, 45 out from the Suns, Carl.
He's got to be a chance for the All-Australian side, took Miller.
Yeah, definitely in the squad.
And they don't actually pick him because he's in the Suns. That's what's wrong with it.
Burgess beautifully down to Rankin, who fires on goal and misses to the right. Seen the flash of Isaac Rankin too much tonight.
Well, he's only had 4 possessions, Rankin.
9-point Gold Coast Suns lead.
There's times tonight you look at the scoreboard, think the Suns are up by 3 or 4 goals, and they've never been up by more than 19 at any time. And again here, just a 9-point buffer. Vlosten straight down the pipe. Pack forms under Collier Dawkins. Umpire says ball up. Middle of Docklands. Roof open, seagulls buzzing around. 11 degrees, no rain, clear night. What a huge crowd in, but the start of round 16, a Suns home game, and they lead it by 9 points against the Tigers. Joel down to Dow. Dow gets the clearance, kicks to centre half forward. Free kick again and again. Lynch is bowled over by Collins. The threat of Tom Lynch under the high ball coming in. And Collins gives away the free at true centre half forward. He stands right on the 50.
He can make it.
He doesn't need to wrestle with him, Collins, because Lynch's timing is so far out tonight. Now, this could be goal number 4. But if you look at Lynch's whole game, it's basically been small little patches where he's gone okay.
From inside the centre square, the former Suns captain against his old mob drives the kick goalward. He's kicked a cannon. 3 in a row for Tom Lynch. 4 for the night against the team he used to lead. 28 played, third term. The Tigers are back within 3 points. Suns 7-14-56. Richmond 8-5-53.
And 3 on the trot now for the tie. Just watching the replay. Like, Collins engages him before the ball's even near. Now, you watch the ball flying. All Collins need to do is just step off him one step, and it's a pretty simple spill.
Punch away, yeah.
But I'm not sure why Collins wants to continually wrestle Lynch at the moment.
And you know what? The umpires love it.
Yeah.
And they look for it. And
It's easy
for them.
Yeah.
An easy pick-off.
They had the battle, of course, last year. Both had punches to the guts, and the camera caught Collins punching the padding in the change rooms after the game. It's sort of like he came with the mentality that was going to be a physical contest, and he wants to make sure his presence is known. Fiorini gets the clearance of the Suns, kicks inside 50. Day brought it in the front. He might have had his arm held. He did. Rankin socketed it off the ground, and don't think the advantage, it is going to be paid. Everyone had stopped. The goal umpire watched it dribble through, and then the field umpire turned and gave it the all clear.
Free kicks. 20, Richmond 17.
It was a late call, wasn't it?
Everyone had stopped.
Who's that? So Rankin got the goal.
Rankin socketed in the left forward pocket. The ball had almost come to a stop, and in the end it was off the outside of the right boot.
Lucky Rankin.
The Gold Coast Suns 8-14-62. They get an important goal as the Tigers close within 3. It's back to 9. Richmond 8-5-53, Rammer.
The free kick today was 30 metres out directly in front. Rankin is soccering off the ground in a forward pocket on an angle. That had it missed.
And desperate to get a kick.
Yeah. We socketed it once to his advantage and socketed it again through for the goal. So
stops the run of 3 consecutive Tom Lynch goals in the game. Back to 9 points in the middle. Pickett contests the ruck and then follows up. Hand pass picked off, trying to get it away to Dusty. Fiorini tries to soccer it off the deck at a fresh air shot. Spills to Nay. She sits on the footy, almost laid an egg. And the ump says, I'll have it. And the ball up, still inside the centre square. Up it goes. Burgess and Pickett. Not the tallest ruck duo. Free kick, non-controlling umpire. Suns way. Free kick to Matt Rao, who only had 8 to half-time. His 20th birthday, first game in Melbourne for the lad from the Oakley Chargers. This
terrible kick.
Rao turns it straight over to McIntosh, who marks on the city wing for Richmond. Suns by 9, half-hour mark, third term.
McIntosh with a long kick towards Lynch and Collins. It clears the 2. Lynch trying to work back onto it, trying to sock it off the ground as Lukosius came to offer support. In the end, he socketed it out of play to force a boundary throw in the right forward pocket the Tigers' way. So Lynch with 3 goals in this third quarter, 4 goals to the match. It was a 20-minute gap between the Rankin goal and Ben King kicking the goal at the 10-minute mark of the third quarter. That was his third. Thrown back in, Lynch into the ruck against Burgess. Burgess dragged down. Did he have an opportunity? The umpire said no. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Oh, that was fascinating. Chris Burgess, before he made that contest, was in the middle of the ground and he threw up what he had for breakfast, lunch and dinner and then willed himself to that contest. I don't know, Clinch, you'd take the 2 days off if you
yes.
if you were that sick in the middle of the ground, but then to run 60 metres to get to that contest was amazing.
We obviously know the problems they've had in the ruck. Caleb Graham out tonight, and he's no Zach Smith, and he's pretty much carried it solo, well undersized. Hurried kick forward from Martin Ellis, takes the intercept mark though in defensive 50, and that'll do us through 3. So Suns by 6 at quarter time, 6 at the half, and now by 9 at three-quarter time. Gold Coast 8-14-62, Richmond 8-5-53. The quarter running 32 minutes and 13 seconds. There's incidents everywhere to talk about. First of all, the Suns kicked 4 unanswered goals either side of half-time. Then Lynch kicked the next 3, and then Rankin the last of the quarter just to steady it back up at 9 points. We had both subs made essentially at half-time. Josh Corbett out with concussion, McPherson in. Coleman Jones out of the game with a lower left leg injury. In comes Thompson Dow. There's more to report from the bench momentarily with Tim Hodges, Nick Vlosten carrying a heavily corked quad. We had a bloody nose for Trent Cotchin in the quarter. And at the end of it, it's the Suns by 9 points. They turn for home in front. Ben King's kicked 3, 1 to Sexton, 1 to Ainsworth, 1 to Corbett, Rankin and Swallow. While for Richmond, Tom Lynch has kicked 4. 3 of them came in that quarter. 1 each for Dusty, Naish, Rewalt and Bolton. We want to hear from you off the SMS. Let us know where you're listening, anywhere across Australia. Obviously, varying conditions during this pandemic. Our thoughts, particularly with those of you in lockdown. Great to have your company tonight on Grandstand AFL. The SMS number is 0437 774 774. On ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital, it's the Suns by 9 at three-quarter time. This is Grandstand AFL.
Conversations.
You go into a psychiatric hospital.
Spend an hour in the life of someone else.
Because you can no longer function.
Someone who's seen and done remarkable things.
Who are all these crazy people? And it takes a while to realise you're one of them. Just because people are not completely sane doesn't mean they can't help you.
Hear the latest conversations weekday mornings from 11 on ABC Radio and follow on the ABC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
The Gold Coast Suns have activated their medical sub. Darcy McPherson comes into this game. Unfortunately, Josh Corbett, who was so good early in this game, is out with concussion.
Thompson Dow onto the park. Callum Coleman-Jones out. Both subs made at the half. Gloston back into traffic spoils.
That was courageous by Gloston. Going back into that, he's come up very sore.
Lemons is able to take the mark on his chest.
Very
good. 1-1 with Dusty. Veers out to the right into the 51 score. Needing a flyer. Brought down by Burgess. Sexton front and centre. Steps on goal and kicks it.
In from the side, Collins. The double fister gets it going forward for the Suns. It'll sit for Miller on half forward. Hand pass to Fiorini. Hits up Ben King, who takes the mark. Ben King skips in at right half forward. He's wearing the crown tonight. The leading forward on the ground. Ben King's got 3, and the Suns have a new high water mark this evening. They're out by 19 points.
Cochin looks into the pocket, kicks out in front of Lynch. Ballard used his body well, but Lynch juggled the mark.
They needed that, Lynch.
He has it in the right forward pocket, 35 metres out from goal. Tom Lynch, quiet first half, 1 goal next to his name. Can he give them a lift here? It's a good kick, and it's straight through the middle.
Hand pass out in front of Dusty, he just needs to pick it up, he can't. Goes to ground, Ballard's tackled without the footy. Says play on, Sockers to Lynch, he bangs it through. Dow gets the clearance, kicks to centre half forward. Free kick again and again, Lynch is bowled over by Collins. The threat of Tom Lynch under the high ball coming in. And Collins gives away the free at true centre half forward. He stands right on the 50. From inside the centre square, the former Suns captain against his old mob drives the kick goalward. He's kicked a cannon. 3 in a row for Tom Lynch. 4 for the night.
The 2021 AFL Premiership season on ABC Radio and on ABC Sport Digital.
It's all happening, as they say, three-quarter time at Dockland. Suns by 9 points. Just confirmation the game between Adelaide and Brisbane will take place at Adelaide Oval as scheduled. Saturday twilight, 4:35 Eastern, 4:05 local time. We've got a quarter ahead of us here. The Suns by 9 points. Mark McClure, Adam Ramanauskas.
Well, it's been an interesting game. They both kicked 2 goals in the first quarter, 3 goals in the second quarter, and 3 goals in the third quarter. So it's so even there. But when you have a look at the inside 50s, 49 to the Suns, to 33 from the Tigers. Gee whiz, they've actually maximised their effort up forward when it goes up there with Lynch kicking 4. But you know what? They've kicked 14 points, separates them. I mean, 8-14 to 8-5, and all of a sudden they've got a game on their hands, the Tigers. There's going to be a big deal here. They've got to pull up Miller. He's the one who continually gets the ball. And do they put anyone to him? I don't see anyone going with him. He just keeps racking them up with 32. And you got Ellis there who's had 19. I'm looking at Cochin. Cochin's had 12. Now, that's not Cochin. To me, I would say, no, Cochin, what are you doing? You know, you're not even crashing in. You're not bashing in. You're not setting a standard that we needed to be set. All those little things there. Midfield battle is interesting. But the 49 inside 50s to 33, that's a flogging in a sense, Rammer.
Well, for the Tigers to win, they're going to lift their tackle rate. They've only had 35 tackles for the game. They're allowing the Gold Coast to really control the tempo. 92 marks to 43 in the game. So it's really the games on Gold Coast terms at the moment. When Richmond strike, they strike in bunches at at the minute. So
they have more class.
Yeah,
we know that.
Lynch found his feet in that
got,
little period in the third quarter.
But do they have as much guts as them and what they want to do?
This is the thing. It's got to be a quick burst at the start of this quarter for the Tigers. The Suns, what are you made of? You've got a lead now going into this last quarter.
Be the great victory of all.
Big 30 minutes for them. Big 30 minutes for the Suns.
Great victory for them if they can get this.
Suns by 9 points over the two-time reigning premiers. Final quarter underway. Chol leaps high. Dusty knocks it on. Still no clean possession off the square. Collier Dawkins went without it. Ball spills to Chol. Takes on Swallow. Somehow got a hand pass out to Bolton. On it at half forward. He threw it. Just threw it straight to Graham in an offload. And a free kick to Powell to come at half-back for the Suns.
Kicks it wide to the City wing where Ainsworth takes the mark. Thought about giving the hand pass over the top to Fiorini. Instead, he'll chip it into space where he can run onto it between wing and half forward. He'll work it backwards by foot to Sharp. Sharp over the top to Toot Miller. Possession number
33.
33.
He could get 50.
He might get 50. I'd like to see that.
Sharp. Quickly around his body. Fiorini one direction, Hawley the other. Hawley's worse for wear. Dragged down as he got his kick away was Ainsworth. A chance still for the Suns, although Rankin has taken out a play in the right forward pocket and a boundary throw in.
Right in Sherwood and southwest Brisbane. Tucked up in bed, you bring the game to life. Appreciate the call. Thanks for your contribution off the SMS.
What you doing in bed in Perth? It's about 6
Brisbane,
o'clock,
Brisbane,
isn't it? Oh,
Suns.
Brisbane, sorry, okay.
Boundary throw in, skidding through. Ainsworth, he's wrapped up. As a pack forms behind him, we'll have a ball up here, 30 out from the Suns goal.
Nothing wrong with an early night, fellas.
You have to tell me.
And Clarko off Clarkson in WA. Great call, ABC team. Has took Miller late. Any tackles as yet?
Oh, yeah. It's about 7 or 8.
6.
Yep.
From the restart, the Tigers win it. Edwards, hand pass to Graham. He kicks out of a defensive 50 down the City wing and whacked out a play. So off the fist of Charlie Ballard, who's had an interesting night. A boundary throw in City wing.
Miller's had the most possessions, the most contested possessions, the most clearances, and the most tackles out of both teams.
And no doubt the hardest worker on the ground.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll get a vote?
He's getting the reward.
Oh, I like it. You're preempting your own votes. Here's Martin on half
Drew used to do that.
Got the hand pass inboard to Edwards. Works it forward to Bolton. He can feed the hand pass away to the run of Graham. He gets to 50. Goes for
That's a
home.
great goal.
On the bounce and it's through. Richmond come again. The all-important first goal of the final term, which closes the gap to 3 the Gold Coast Suns way. 8-14-62 to the Tigers, 9-5-59. And as has been the case tonight, the Tigers look their best when they're on the fly from half-back. Adam Ramanaskas and Mark McClure.
And it's the little Martin handball that gets Edwards out into space, and then it flows onto Bolton. And Graham was flying through the middle of the ground to receive that handball. You probably wanted the ball in Bolton's hands going inside forward 50, but you just had to give it to Graham there because he was going at such speed and he was in such space. Terrific finish, terrific start for the Tigers. Clean, crisp possession.
So 4 of the last 5 in the game now. Just that soccer goal to Rankin. The outlier for the Suns as Richmond trying to run them down after trailing by 19. Margin back to 3. Quick break here for the Suns. Fiorini, hurried kick out to half forward, but no one there. McIntosh back for Richmond. Hand pass to Vlosten. Gets around 2. Hands it back to McIntosh. Kicks down the broadcast wing. Hand on it from Markov. Spills to Arts. Mark not paid. Hand pass to Cochin between wing and half forward. Kicks inside 50 to Rewalt. Contested grab under the pressure from Ballard. And Rewalt marks 45 out right half forward.
Most people wouldn't understand how good that mark was.
The kick from Cochin.
Oh, it was a beauty, but that mark was A-grade.
Cochin tucked up on the boundary to get the ball to Rewalt in that position. He's had to kick it around his body.
Yeah.
Terrific kick by the captain.
From Cochin to Rewalt, as we've seen so many times over the years. And for the lead from just inside 50. He's out to the right and he misses.
On goal 3 now to Jack.
Still on 6.99 in his career. Tigers edging closer. The Suns led it by 19 points in the third. They lead by just 2. 4.5 into the final quarter.
Lukosius to bring the Suns back into play. Plays on and runs his full measure. Drives a lethal kick up to the city wing, which Burgess is outmanoeuvred by Chol to take the mark. Oh, get the tape measure out for that one, Roma.
That was long. Every bit of 60, 65 metres.
Richmond work it forward to the hands of Pickett, who takes the mark, turns and kicks inside 50. Jack again, but in front. Lukosius takes the mark.
Had a good game, Lukosius.
He has.
18 kicks, one handball will be 19, 20 possessions for Lukosius. Kicking going at 72%.
Suns by 2 points. Lukosius is going to switch play, and Collins takes the mark in the left back pocket. He can drive it up to Fiorini. Martin came from the side, spoiled it. Fiorini gets it down to Ellis, and he hand passes out into the path of Miller.
Trying to run onto it. He was tackled by Graham without the footy.
He didn't have the footy.
And Took Miller will take it right in front of the interchange gates. Heads inboard to Ellis. The Suns 6 out of 14 final quarters won this year. Trying to protect a 9-point three-quarter time advantage. They're up by just 2. Short kicking game here on the wing beneath us. Dot side of the ground. Fiorini marks the Ellis kick and then goes long to the contest down the line. No one competes, and Grimes marks uncontested.
He's not a long kick, Fiorini.
No.
I think Grimes has realised that, read that terrifically well for the intercept mark.
Grimes inboard to Hooley. Hooley's kick a shocker. Kicked a flower bag across the half-back line. Pack forms in the centre square and we'll have a ball up. The Sharps locked up by Pickett. So we'll have a ball up just forward of halfway for the Suns. Gold Coast by 2, 6 minutes into the last.
Joel tried to get there late, but Burgess gathered, kicked inside the 50. Bouncing ball for Asprey to try and gather for Richmond. Went the long way around. Holman tackles him out of play, which might have been where Asprey wanted to get to. Throw in 50 metres out from the Suns' goal.
Looked like the spirit of Tasmania coming into Dockett. Poor Melbourne there. Dave Asprey.
Yep.
Dainty, was it?
Jeez, he took his time to get around that football.
She'll a bit sore tonight. Edwards, who copped a bump to the ankle early, but has continued on. Here's Shea Bolton. Clean pick up, but awkward bounce. Almost run down by Swallow. Did enough to pressure the kick, and Collins gathers for the Suns. His kick is wide of Lukosius, and it bounces end over end and out of play. So the Suns, they're going to have to be a bit more composed than what they're showing at this stage if they're going to hang on.
Well, they've got to find scores, the Suns. At the moment, it looks like they're playing this first 7 minutes just a little bit nervous, a bit tentative.
They've kicked 1 goal since the 10-minute mark of the third term, and it was a soccer through from the forward pocket from an advantage. From the boundary throw-in, Rao hurried kick forward. Mark dropped by Short, follows up though for Richmond. Hand pass to Ross, back to Short. Rao tackles him. Kick ends up banging into the body of Sharp, and he just walks it over the boundary line. Umpire says it's okay, and a throw-in. 70 out from Richmond's goal. In the meantime, Richmond have kicked 4 at the other end, 3 to Lynch, the last to Graham. And what was a 19-point lead for the Suns is now just a 2-point buffer.
Burgess taps it to the front for the Gold Coast Suns. Sharp onto it at half-back. Hand pass intercepted by Ross. Free kick hold going Gold Coast Suns' way.
What?
Even Braden Fiorini didn't realise it was his free kick until the umpire said it was. It's been a tough night to try and pick some of the Tiggy Touchwood ones. Fiorini drives the kick around the city. Mabiel Chol in the pack. Takes an excellent mark. Doing the majority of the ruck work for the Tigers tonight.
Done a lot, hasn't he?
Coleman Jones out injured at half-time, so he's had to carry the load on his shoulders, apart from a little burst from Pickett. Kicks around the city wing. No mark claims. Sharp's hand pass forward straight to Asprey of Richmond. Couldn't get it to Baker. Picked up by Rowell. Hand pass to Burgess. Kick over the head of Day. He can't pull it in with his left mitt. And it rolls out of play for a boundary throw-in.
The SMS, Daniel and Alice Springs, thanks for the call from Lockdown Alice. We might expect a crowd of 6,000 here, but why is there such a small crowd in Melbourne? Is it because the Thursday night is not popular?
No, we got no cases. I don't want to get into it.
No theories?
Probably a good move.
And the boundary throw-in, Bolton, hand pass away to Ross, high kick down the wing.
Great punch.
Collins knocks it away from Lynch, spills though to Swallow. Hand pass to Rao, right on halfway, kicks inside 50. Ainsworth the target, Floston spoils. Back down to Fiorini, centre half forward, hands it to Rankin. Hand pass to Ellis, Arts has got him, holding the ball. Some hesitation from Brandon Ellis, and Jake Arts had eyes only for the ball carrier. Got him, wins possession.
Rankin's having some time getting up over there. Is he?
Geez, this is something you don't see all the time. There is a pitch invader.
There's two.
At centre half forward, fully clothed in a Richmond scarf, just been tackled down.
I thought Strickers were nude.
And there's another pitch invader which is being helped off by security in the forward pocket. So just as Daniel asked us about the low crowd, there's only 6,000 here, and we got two idiots out on the playing field.
I was going to say only the 80 sellers. I mean, for those listeners that are wondering, the game moved from the Gold Coast Suns to Melbourne, only got confirmed on Tuesday. Ticket sales only went on sale at 10 o'clock today, so hard for fans to get access to.
What do they think they're going to do out there, those blokes?
Have their 2 seconds before the security gets out there. The Gold Coast Suns obviously being the home team, got first crack at it. Richmond fans had to wait for that to take place. They had access to it as the visiting team, so unfortunately for the fans that have come, have been very committed to the cause, and Tigers fans don't like coming to Docklands as much as their coach.
They were Tigers, I can assure you.
Hooley kicks long, eventually once play restarts. Arts can't gather. Bowes, hand pass to Ballard, dragged down when not in possession, and the Suns will take it on the wing below our commentary spot. Suns by 2. Ballard inboard to Toot Miller. He's going to kick across half back. Collins at full stretch. Pulled it in with one arm. Tapped it to his own advantage. Did well to control it. Over the top to McPherson. Got the hand pass forward to Swallow. Kicks inside the 50. Ainsworth tried to double back to the goal mouth, and Hooley gathered. The Tigers through McIntosh at half back.
High ball down the wing, but Swallow at the drop takes the mark. So it's a 2-point lead for Gold Coast. 11.5 played final term. Swallow retreats. He goes back to Bowes. Bowes' kick dangerous to Powell. Didn't reach him. Dusty's on him. Lays a tackle. Got a hand pass back to Bowes. Had to go back and help out. He kicks to half back to Collins. Hurried hand pass away to Lukosius. Shows it to Lynch. Spears his drop punt down the wing. A little tough for McPherson. Trying to sock it away from McIntosh. They come for McIntosh. He's caught. He's in trouble. It's holding the ball. Gee, McPherson was lucky he didn't get called for kicking in danger.
Yeah.
And then McIntosh sat on top of it. And he's tackled by Day, and a free kick for the Suns on the city wing. Gold Coast by 2. 12th travelled final quarter.
Just the one goal so far in this final term through Jack Graham. Day's long kick. Up in the pack, King and Grimes. It clears them, and Rankin takes it over the boundary line for a throw-in. Could be set for an absorbing finish. Suns can't score. Richmond are trying to find a way to mount a charge. Thrown back in. Pickett in the ruck. Jumped high. Got right on the shoulder of Day. One down the tap. Ross couldn't gather. Day picks it up. Kicks around his body. Hooley in from the side.
Well played, back.
Takes the mark in front of Ben King. 20 metres out from his offensive goal.
Hooley has to just go across the goal face. Vlauston marks back pocket. 2-point lead for the Suns. 13 played final quarter. Hits up Castagna at half back. Trying to run and carry. It all shut down. Castagna kicks hurriedly into the middle. Hand on it from Swallow. Ball in dispute in the middle of the ground. Dow wins it superbly. Hand pass to Cochin. Hand pass out wide to McIntosh for the Tigers. He burns away from Sam Day. 2 bounces. 70 out half forward. McIntosh kicks deep right to Lynch. Tom Lynch back with the flight. Takes the mark in front of the behind post.
Just that critical ball in the middle of the ground. Swallow just couldn't get there to mark it. Taps it out in front of himself. Dow comes through with the one grab.
That's why they pay him the big money.
Critical ball.
That's why they pay him the big money.
2 seasons, 2 premierships. Big game. Tom Lynch, he misses.
Take some off him.
Too much hook on it. Miss into the near side. A minor score. The Suns' lead is just 1. 14 played final term.
The Tigers are coming. The Gold Coast Suns need to find a way to respond. Ellis.
They're just crawling, aren't they?
Yep, short to the pocket. Lukosius has it. A second footy, which was kicked in the crowd, is on the field. So goal umpire alerting the field umpire, socking it through from behind. So had some unusual pauses in this final term. Lukosius Long out of defence. Burgess the target. Wrestled with Chol. Got rid of him and took the mark. Quickly with a hand pass to Ellis. Around the dock swing. Kick is wide of Holman. He's pushed out of play by Grimes. And a boundary throw in just to the left of the Richmond bench. The Suns 8-14-62 to the Tigers 9-7-61. 14 minutes gone. Final term. You're with ABC Sport.
They've kicked one goal since the 10-minute mark of the third quarter, the Suns. They're 17th in the comp for scoring, and it's hard to see where their points are coming from. They still lead it by one here. For the boundary throw-in, Alice hurried kick to half forward. King traps the footy in amongst a number of Tigers. Hand pass forward, made its way to Holman. Hooks his kick, top of the goal square. Asprey never took his eyes off it. Crashes into the Suns forwards and takes the mark. Last line of defence for Richmond.
15? No.
Short to Naish, it's not. Told to go. Naish turns and pulls the trigger long to half-back. Chol in the packet, spills front and centre to Castagna. Hand pass to Bolton. Hand pass into the path of Cochin. Hurried kick into an open forward line. Dusty down there. Rewalt got a hand on it. Free kick. Free kick Gold Coast. Rewalt was into an open goal. And Dusty's going to be penalised for taking out his direct opponent, Will Powell. Ellis's kicks a shot or it's back into dispute. Cochin picks it up, hands it to Dusty, kicks to Lynch on the line in the goal square. Oh, the turnover from Brandon Ellis. Just as it looked like the Richmond goal was going begging, Tom Lynch can bang it through from 5 metres out.
So Brandon Ellis kicks it to the middle of the ground in the last line of defence to 2-on-1.
Just needed to bang it up the line to where the numbers were.
Dumb in the sense.
By hook or by crook, this goal was going through, and Tom Lynch, to make sure of it, from the top of the goal square, he has 5. Richmond are in front. And a reminder to the Suns of the star he's capable of being. Tom Lynch with 5 against his old team. 10-7-67 Richmond. The Suns are 8-14-62. They surrender the lead at the 17-minute mark of the final term.
They haven't scored, the Suns, in this quarter. So we're now 17 minutes gone, and they're still to score. Inside 50s for the quarter now. It's 6 apiece. So the ball's been in there equally with Richmond, but it feels like the game this quarter particularly has been played more in Richmond's forward half.
So
they're the team that are actually trying to win the game, Sellers.
I think there's only 2 goals kicked. One's Graham and one's Lynch. So it's been an up and down sort of game. But when you got power like Lynch in the forward line, who's taken a couple of big marks, gee, you can have some confidence kicking him there.
Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Shane Edwards just came to the bench after that goal. He is so sore, but he's waved the doctors away. These Tigers are fighting through. Nick Vlosten is out there. He can barely walk, let alone run, but he's fighting through. This will be an incredibly gutsy win if they can get the 4 points.
I said at half-time they should be isolating Rewalt. Lynch has now kicked, what's he kicked, 5? I was wrong.
Bolton quickly out of the middle of the ground. Ballard, well positioned, takes the mark against Jack Rewalt. Kicked 5 of the last 8 goals, the Tigers, in this second half. And all of a sudden the Suns, who had the game on their terms, have found themselves behind. Fiorini chips out the Bows. They can, but not the way they're playing.
Nah.
I know, but, you know, sometimes you've got to get some dare.
They're too safe, Sellers.
Yeah,
at the moment,
you've got to get dare.
Yeah.
Last victory was against the Hawks back in round 11. They lost to North Melbourne last week, the Suns, so they had the game on their terms, and now they're well and truly being challenged. Markov has it in the back pocket as they're hemmed in defence. He chips the ball towards Collins.
That's a hard.
Boston flew in front. Naish becomes the tackler. Sexton bursts through. Got it to Swallow. Kicks a spiralling ball towards half forward. Kicking from the side. Couldn't complete the mark. Rankin onto it. Takes the bounce. Runs away from Grimes. Puts it out in the path of Sharp. He can run onto an open goal. Gathers. Puts it through. What a time to kick your first goal in AFL footy. At the 18-minute mark of the final term. The Suns' first goal since the 30-minute mark of the third term. And all of a sudden the Suns are back in front by a point with that goal. 9-14-68 to the Tigers. 10-7-67. 19 minutes gone. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure with you.
Well, they shared the ball all the way down the ground with little chip passes and movement and people running onto the ball outside, then onto Sharp. And then you get hold of Rankin in the middle of the ground. It's a beautiful kick, just a perfect weighted kick, good bounce, and then Sharp finishes it off. So they've still got their chances. They can still win this game.
That was a sensational contest by Ben King there.
Oh, yeah.
It was 2-on-1, half-forward flank. It looked like Richmond were going to take that intercept mark. He made the contest for the ball to hit the ground, Rankin with the composure.
That was a beauty.
Big goal for Jeremy Sharp, the West Aussie, two-time under-18 All-Australian winner and All-Australian representative, and obviously now a first goal for him in a critical moment. Middle of the ground, Chol threw it out.
Yeah, it's a throw.
Chol's going to be penalised, trying to hand it off. And Flanders, the tackler's going to get the free kick for the Suns.
And you could run off.
Richmond flood some numbers back in the slow play as the ball's returned to Flanders.
See, they're going to move out of the way. Some of those blokes are inside half forward. They were floated.
He's kicked it as high as the open roof. Oh! King's down there, hands to it, no mark. Falls underneath Nashi, ushers it out to Baker. Hand pass back door to Hawley. Hawley out of the back pocket, tries to clear for Richmond. His kick's wide, just inside the boundary line. Rewalt wanted to keep it alive. Coughs it up to Ballard and hits Ainsworth. Lace out. Rewalt kept it in the boundary line, and Ballard took the gift. Hits up Ben Ainsworth on the lead.
So how many points has he kicked?
3. 1-3. Yep. 2-3. 2-3, yeah. Just take your time, deep breath.
So Ben Ainsworth, top 5 pick back in 2016, now at 23 years of age, in and out of the first choice team this year. Tight angle against the boundary line, right half forward, drop, punt, won't have the trip. It's across the face and manages a minor score. Somehow no one touched it on the line. And a minor for the Suns. 9:15 to 10-7. Suns by 2, time on in the last.
Quickly brought back in for Richmond. Arts can't juggle the mark. Collins kicks it into the crowd.
Is he over the line?
He might have been,
yes, I think he was.
Right on it.
Lucky break there for the Suns.
Hasn't had the best of nights. Last year's best and fairest, Sam Collins. Tom Lynch has put a 5 on him. It's been an interesting battle throughout the night, but Lynch has certainly taken the points there. Joel takes it out of the ruck, kicks off the outside of the boot towards Lynch on the bounce. Collins fists it towards the boundary line. Arts got there, couldn't keep it in play. This goes out at right half forward for the Tigers.
So do you think he'd come along tonight, 22-minute mark of the last quarter, and the Suns would be in front? Did you think that?
Not on previous performances. So they've got Stuart Jew's got a response out of his group, which is fantastic for him.
Oh, grab the ball.
I'm not sure I knew what to expect when I came along tonight. As Cochin gathers, kicks into the pocket. I think it actually collected the boundary umpires. It went out of play and a boundary throw, and the umpire backpedaling as quickly as he could. So a 2-point lead for the Gold Coast Suns. 23 minutes now gone in this final term.
Couple of lead changes in the quarter, 6 for the night from the boundary throw-in. One down by Burgess to Edwards of the Tigers. Hand pass to Ellis. Rewalt wraps him up, gives it to Ballard. Rewalt's got him too. The follow-up tackle from Jack Rewalt forces the ball up in the forward pocket. And they trap it in. Right forward pocket for the Tigers. Coventry end of the ground. Suns by 2 from the restart. Ellis, hurried kick, too wide. Puts it out on the full 70 out from the Tigers' goal.
It's touched. Okay.
Oh, it was touched, was it? Okay.
So why isn't that deliberate still? Or insufficient intent?
If it was touched, it could have come off the bloke's hand and pushed over the line. You don't get it, Rammer. Fair dinkum.
Come on, Rammer. You don't get it. Thrown back into play. Joel in front position. Thumps it towards the boundary line. Is that sufficient intent to keep it in play? Collins charging it. In fact, it was Markov who gathered and races over the boundary line under enough pressure from Arts to see a boundary throw in.
Pete off the SMS. I reckon Carmichael Hunt might kick a goal after the siren to win this. 2-point lead for the Suns.
They go back to when the Tigers weren't the Tigers we know back in 2014, the last time the Suns beat them. Thrown back in. Toot Miller wrestles for it. Can't break clear. Collier Dawkins knocked it out. Free kick, high tackle. And it's a Richmond free kick.
No, it goes to Took.
I reckon I'm about 1 out of 5 tonight. I think I'll just put my binoculars down and call it a night, trying to pick the umpire's calls.
Rammer's the best umpire. Fair dinkum.
Miller to Markov, and he swings it from one back flank to the other, out in front of Ballard, who runs onto it, city side of the ground. He kicks up into the front half to a one-on-one, strong grab. Ainsworth takes it in front of Baker, short kick along the boundary line, wanted Holman, pressure from Hawley, landed awkward on his ankle.
He got a mark.
The mark's going to be paid to Holman. Hawley came down on his left ankle and he's a little proppy. The mark's going to be paid to Holman, 70 out. The man on the mark can barely move. Holman kicks to King. Ben King marks, 30 out against the boundary line. Grimes went down in front at the critical moment and Ben King hangs onto it. Up against the fence, right half forward.
Playing for the free kick there. Grimes.
We know the history with Dylan Grimes on that front. And when the key mark's taken for the big forward in Ben King, Grimes is flopping forward in front. He's now standing to mark as Ben King's missing to the near side. Another behind. They're 9-16. Richmond at 10-7. 3-point lead for the Suns. Time on in the last.
Hawley's okay as he brings Richmond back into play, but Lukosius has had one of his best games of his career. Takes the intercepting mark.
Absolutely fantastic, Lukosius.
Has it at left half forward, a chance to reload inside the 50. Where's King? Puts it in his direction. Marbiel Chol spoils it down, and Asprey sees it out of play in the left forward pocket for the Suns.
See, I don't like that kick. That little floating kick in there, you got to hit one low and hard or hit a target so you're closer again. So you're making them think about it. That was too easy to spoil away.
26 minutes gone, final term. Suns by 3 points in attack. Burgess knocks it down to the front. Cochin squeezes a kick cleverly to halfback. Castagna runs onto it. Got the hand pass away to Chol. Over the top to Graham. Here go the Tigers. Collier Dawkins ran a long way. Drives it towards half forward. Lynch against two. Collins initiates contact. Knocks it to the front. Sliding in. Losing his footing was Lemons. Gathered by Arts for Richmond. Hand pass inboard to Dusty. Tapped it down to his own advantage. Then his hand pass intercepted. Fiorini. Lucky kick, found Holman.
Holman turns and hits up Markov. An emergency during the final series last year and on grand final day. Holds the footy 27 minutes in the last against his old team. Suns by 3. Hits up Lukosius, told to go. Hurried kick down to Holman. Tackled without it. Free kick to Holman.
Running out of time, the Tigers. 2 minutes 24.
I think their supporters are getting a bit narky too.
Suns by 3. In the last 5 minutes, they've had a lot of it in their front half. Holman kicks inside the forward 50. King again. King hands to it, didn't come down with it. Says play on. Hand pass from Naish, dangerous. Rowell and Cochin wrestle for it at ground level. Rowell stands up with it, takes on the tackler, lost it to Baker. Hurried kick down the wing for the Tigers.
Martin one-on-one with Lemons, a bounce on its point, went back to Castagna. He's tackled by Markov. Bows to the kick inside 50. Day flies, can't take the mark. Ainsworth front centre, over the top to King. Can he finish the Tigers? Snaps on the right, yes, bet he can. Ben King with his fourth. And surely that's enough. The last 2 goals of the match. The way of the Gold Coast Suns. They've had to answer the Richmond challenge at the 28-minute mark. They're 10-16-76 to the Tigers 10-7-67.
That was a great tackle by Markov.
Unbelievable.
So Richmond have won the ball just on the halfback flank. And Markov just held on as tight as he possibly could. Terrific tackle by Markov. They just pushed the ball forward, Sellers. Repeat entry.
What a great performance this is by a bunch of blokes that came down from the Gold Coast. No one thinks they're any good. All of a sudden they take on the champs of last year and beat them. Gives them some confidence. They can play.
26 scoring shots to 17. And a 9-point lead for the Suns. 2 minutes on the game clock. Chol in the middle taps it down to Miller. He lost it in the tackle. Pack forms behind him and will do it all again.
They need one more.
29 minutes into the final term. Richmond hit the front in the final quarter with Tom Lynch's 5th. 2 in a row for the Suns, and they lead it again by 9. From the ball up, Ellis just kicks over his head into open space. Dockside wing, chasing the footy, Collier Dawkins. Lemon's got him straight away. Hand pass ends up over the boundary line.
Good contest.
On the wing.
Good contest there by Lemons.
So after losing to the bottom side, North Melbourne, last week, the Gold Coast Suns are going to beat the reigning premiers, who will fall below 50%, 7 and 8, and only inside the 8 depending on what other results take place. Baker gathers on the wing, squeezes the kick towards half forward, charging out, unable to take it cleanly. It was Castagna who's dragged off it, and a free kick Richmond's way. Time against them. Castagna quickly to Martin. Kicks inside the 50. Rebound up. Couldn't take the mark. Swallow onto it. Gets the hand pass. And Powell will kick out of defence. A long kick up to the wing, which Richmond should be able to gather, but time is just about out. Boston ran into Grimes. Holman put the pressure. Rankin sockers it forward. And Grimes has to race back after it. Rankin might get there first off the outside of the boot. We saw him kick a soccer goal in the third. He couldn't quite repeat the feat. Further out in the left forward pocket in the last.
That was clever.
A 10-point margin. Grimes knew he was battling against someone who was quicker than him.
Time running out for the Tigers. Short run straight down the middle of the ground and kicks it in that direction to Lynch. Bowes on the end of it. Grabs it, kicks a high ball out to half forward for the Suns. Vlosten at the drop, leaps up, takes the mark. Desperation belongs to the Tigers. Kicks a barrel through the middle of Docklands. Lynch drops the awkward spinning footy. It just hands it out towards Graham. Skidding through Fiorini. Pack forms over the top. And a ball up on that city wing. The Gold Coast Suns by 10. 31 played in the last.
You can almost say this is their best win in the Suns' history.
Ever.
Most important win. Questions around the club with Tony Cochran forced to come out. Questions of Stuart Dew. The Gold Coast Suns have beaten the Tigers for the first time in 7 years. A 10-point victory on the road in a home game that leaves Richmond's premiership defence in tatters. We are the Suns of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the palm. Run, 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 run away. Hey. We are the Suns of the Gold Coast sky, where the
Telling bad luck.
The Suns led by 6 points at quarter time, by 6 points at half time, a 9-point advantage at 3-2 at a time before 2 goals apiece in the final term. The Tigers kicked the opening 2 goals of the final term to hit the front at the 15-minute mark of the final term, but the Suns with the last 2 goals of the match. Ben King booted his fourth to see them prevail by 10 points, 10-17, 77 to the Tigers 10-7, 67. For the winners, Ben King booted 4. Individuals to Sexton, Ainsworth, Corbett, Rankin, Swallow and Sharp. Meanwhile for the Tigers, 5 goals to Tom Lynch. Individuals to Martin, Naish, Rebold, Bolton and Graham. The Gold Coast Suns with their 5th win of the season. You could hear the crowd as the umpires made their way off the field. Tim Hodges is on the boundary. Hodgie, just talk us through what was happening there at the end.
Well, for such a small crowd, I've never seen so many police and security guards around the race where the umpires left. There were some absolutely irate Tiger supporters giving them a bake as they left. I will say also Damien Hardwick came down from the coach's box after King's final goal for the Suns. I'm not sure if that's on camera, but he won't be proud of himself. He had his face mask on, but he just glared at the umpires from about a metre away and shook his head. So he's clearly fuming with the result, clearly fuming with the umpiring. And in the end, it was Luke Livingston, the interchange steward for the Tigers, who basically told him to get into the rooms and get out of here. So, what a dirty night for the Tigers.
The week started with a loss to the bottom team, and now they're here. A win over the 2-time reigning premiers as the Sun Perhaps setting on the premiership defence of the Richmond Football Club. It's the Suns' night. 10-17-77. Richmond 10-7-67. A 10-point win for the Gold Coast Suns. Adam Ramanauskas and Mark McClure, initial thoughts on all of that. How do you make sense of that?
I'll make a bit of sense out of it because there's a side who's falling. And they're not happy with what they're doing and how they're playing. And their coach can't control them either. Can't even control himself. I mean, they were beaten by a better side tonight, a team that actually looked after the ball, contested the ball. They had extra 40-odd possessions, 41 possessions extra than the opposition. They controlled the ball well. They've done a lot of things really well, the Gold Coast Suns. Their inside 50s have been terrific. They just continue to keep bashing it into that area and continuing to fight. And I love the Took Miller game. It was just unbelievable. 36 possessions. He had 17 contested. He just continues to run from one end to the other and flat out. But who was with him? Graham started to go with him. Cotton couldn't go with him. No one could go with him. And all of a sudden there was just incredible areas where they worked at. 64 inside 50s to 42. And you know what? And you think you can win a game with 42 inside 50s? I don't think so, Tigers. The days are done when they can actually still hold their head up high and say, hang on, we're still having a good go here, because the Gold Coast Suns are second last or third last on the ladder. Last week, St Kilda, who are untrustworthy, rolled them over as well. I mean, I think you blame yourself first, don't you? Any chance you can put your own hand up, Damien, and say, hey, listen, this is our blokes aren't playing well. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting beaten by the lower sides in the competition. And understand, hey, maybe we need to change a few. Maybe you need to drop a couple. Maybe you need to send a message to the crew that that's not good enough. And instead of actually trying to bash up the umpires who don't play any part in the game. For mine, I love what they did, the Gold Coast Suns. It was just sensational. They were tough at it. Their clearance work was enormous. They won that area as well. They won every part of that game. If you look at the stats sheet, it's been enormously beneficial for this club to win a game like that. When you come out of the doldrums and you beat the grand finalists of the year before, wow, what a feeling, Rammer.
No doubt. It was a massive occasion for the Suns. Tonight, Thursday night is a prime time game. Last week, really disappointing against North Melbourne. That's not paying enough credit to North Melbourne because they were very good last week. But they've been bashed, the Gold Coast. Everybody's had their crack at them now through the media. We spoke about it at the start of the game. Who are they? What do they stand for as a football club? We then challenged them at half-time. Can they replicate what they did in the first half? Richmond took the lead. And I thought, I'm sitting here going, well, you know what? It'll be the normal Suns.
Seen this script before.
Yeah, we've seen it before. It's happened before where it's just, you know what? It's all too hard. Let's just give up. You don't like to use that word in football, but at times that's how it's happened. 120 marks they took, the Suns.
Incredible.
Richmond took 57.
They beat them in everywhere.
They controlled the tempo of the game. They controlled their run and carry. I love their pressure tonight. They forced Richmond into error. Richmond played in 10-minute patches throughout the game. They had 3 10-minute patches.
They get a win, 2 in the back end, or these last 8 games. The stats have been doing the rounds last 4 years. 2 wins, 1 draw, 29 losses. Yeah. So not just are they sort of anti-competitive and the season's over with 8 weeks to go, they pretty much pack up and say, look, we've had enough. That'll do us. Yeah. And that's a 4-year pattern now. And they come out here with the first of these last 8 games and they knock off Richmond tonight. And we said throughout the night that they played in patches and they played their best footy. But there were moments in that last quarter where they said, right, we need to ramp it up and we need to get out with the win tonight. And the Suns withstood that, that's credit to them. 10-17 to 10-7. They had 10 more scoring shots. They win by 10.
They hadn't scored in that quarter till the 19-minute mark. Their first goal came in the 19-minute mark.
Yeah. Actually...
It's a good effort. It's a really
tremendous.
How now do they consistently play like that week in, week out, with that effort, with that application, with that plan? They went in with the plan. They were able to execute tonight. They went after a couple of the Richmond players.
And that's the biggest challenge, though, isn't it? We saw it in round 7 against Collingwood, then they lose their next 3, beat Hawthorn in round 11, lose their next 3. So it's about trying to close that gap between their best, which we see on fleeting occasions.
Do we think Richmond are a good side anymore?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Why? Why do you think they're a good side?
They're tired. They're wounded at the moment. They're the reigning premier.
Yeah, but you don't stand up and blame anyone else but yourself.
No, correct.
And that's what really annoys me, because these kids, you take away the glory of the Gold Coast Suns have won a game against the best side in the competition for the last 4 years. And then they stand there and go, oh, it's someone else's fault. No, it's not. It's theirs.
6 tackles in the first quarter is reflective of what Richmond
exactly
have done.
right.
Especially after kicking 2 goals the week before. You expected some sort of response.
Yeah. And I just don't see their pressure game anymore. Their pressure game is...
They don't want it, Rammer.
And that's around that contest.
Yeah.
Like around the contest, they would almost concede stoppage, but apply enormous pressure, win the ball back, through half-back, wherever they did, and start rolling from there. Jaden Short's been a really critical player for him over the past couple of seasons. Nick Holman did a terrific job on him tonight, kept dragging him away. He's had...
No easy ball there, was it?
He's had 17 possessions.
Yeah.
But Hawley's had 24, Martin's had 23. And then it's 19 to Bolton, 19 to Cochin, 18 to Baker.
Just okay, aren't they? Not great stats.
Injuries are one thing. Injuries to critical players, absolutely. Prestia, Nankervis, Lambert, they're hard to replace those guys. There's no doubt about that. But still, if you want to be a contender, now it's
okay.
We're questioning that.
Let's look at the tackle count. I just pushed the tackle count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tacklers from Gold Coast before you get to a Richmond player.
Yeah.
And they're talking about 7s to 6. It's ridiculous. So to me, you've got themselves to blame, no one else.
The Gold Coast Suns fell behind in the final quarter when Tom Lynch kicked his 5th. They then replied to kick the next 2 of the game, or the last 2. One to Jeremy Sharp, which was his first goal in AFL footy, and then Ben King capped off a superb night with his 4th in the 26th minute, and as a result, they ended up winning by 10 points, the Gold Coast Suns. They snapped a 3-game losing sequence in the process. Let's get inside the Suns' rooms and have a listen to the song, a 10-point win over the Tigers. Suns winners by 10 points, 10-17, Richmond 10-7. We'll get to one of the players momentarily. Stuart Dew has just called them in for a meeting. We'll get some reaction from the Richmond rooms. We want to hear from you as well off the SMS, particularly those of you on listening through ABC Gold Coast. I'd love for you to get in touch with us. Let us know what you make of that result. 0437 774 774. Tim in Wodonga took Miller as the next captain of the Gold Coast Suns. He's already consistent, leading by example every week.
Agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
Can't get a bigger compliment than that, and the Rammer agreeing with you.
Zach and Nola driving from Exmouth back to Ballara Station. Great call and great game, guys. Go the Suns from Zach and Nola. Dave in SA, hi team, thanks for the play-by-play descriptions. I'm waiting for the Crows to come back to their nest after a few unsettled hours, but in the meantime I'm looking for the Suns to hang on. So this was obviously just before full time and cause another upset. Well, Dave, you'll be happy with that outcome. And just repeating, the game between Adelaide and Brisbane is scheduled to go ahead at Adelaide Oval. 4:05 local time in SA, 4:35 Eastern, the Saturday twilight fixture. So the Suns 10-17, the Gold Coast 10-7. Just Ben King, his efforts tonight. So
very good. Great.
5 at one end for Tom Lynch, 4 for Ben King. We sort of talk a lot about Max, and there's a lot of focus on him, obviously, playing here in Melbourne, but what a year he's having. I mean, he kicks 4 tonight. He's got 38 for the year at 20 years of age.
Yeah, he and Harry McKay are going to be unbelievable players. And his brother as well, Max. They're all going to be good. And you can put Norton in there as well. Norton's a star, an absolute star, and he's a bull. The King boys need to put a bit of weight on before they get into that sort of weight bracket, but gee whiz, there's some exciting young men who are going to earn a lot of money in this game, if Rammer can get hold of one of them anyway.
Can I ask you about the role of Matt Rouse? So I find his use a little interesting at the moment. We're only had 8 touches to half-time. He doesn't seem to be extending as many centre bounces as what we saw early in his career. What's going on with his use?
What's early in his career?
Oh, well, you know what I mean. When he had three best on grounds in 4 games.
It's his 10th game of his career. So
you know what I mean. That touch that he had in the start of 2020.
I think there's a protection of Matt Rowell with his knee. The knee injury was a significant one earlier in the season. So they're just letting the kid now just play, just enjoy his football. He's had 17 possessions today, 7 contested, 4 tackles. So he's a bona fide midfielder. We all know that. But it's hard because he wasn't able to run on that knee a lot too through his rehab. So it's hard to find that fitness quickly to be able to play the minutes that he potentially wants to in the midfield. So I think, what is there, another 6 or 7 games, 8 games to go for the season? His minutes will ramp up, but it's more important to get him to the off-season injury-free rather than blow him up and cause another injury towards the end of the season.
So just before we get on to the Tigers, Suns winners by 10 points. From where they've come from, the heat they've been under, the loss to North Melbourne, come out and win tonight, how do you make it now more than just that this is the outlier?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
I think it's in the rooms now. Okay, yep, you celebrate it, but that's the standard. Like that game can't be an outlier for how they go about their football moving forward. That's got to be the standard. That's got to be the consistent base that they use to play their football. If they do that, they're going to compete in games a lot longer. We're not going to see the last half fade outs when it gets too hard and you may as well blow the siren.
No, I totally agree, but I'm not certain that Richmond are a good side anymore. I'm worried about the way they play. I'm worried about their collision work. I'm worried about their contested work. I'm worried about all the things that they were really good at and the chaos ball that they used to get in forward and the chase and tackle in the forward line. How many tackles do you reckon they had in the forward line? Probably naught. So to me, that's a different side to what I've seen before. Are they a good side? No, I don't think so. But let me tell you, you can only beat who you can beat on the day. And it was fantastic for them to do so. But I understand where you're coming from. They need to pick off where they can pick off in their weight grade. Let me tell you, Richmond are in their weight class now.
He's off Richmond.
I am.
Suns
totally.
midfield.
I was off them before. I was off them early in the year because I could smell they're not the same as they were. I'm not being smart, but I remember talking to a few people about it and going, gee whiz, it's just not the same.
The Suns midfield, when you take out Greenwood and Anderson,
you look at effort.
Tonight, Richmond had Martin and Cochin and Bolton in there. Edwards played more across half-back, but you can focus a lot on Richmond's system, but clearly the depth isn't there to play in the style that they've become used to because they were beaten up around the ball.
And that's what they've been capable of doing in previous seasons, that if they do lose players to injury, guys are able to come in and simply play the system that they want.
And they didn't kick long to the square. They didn't kick long into so that they could gather and mark, and the defenders could push and shove and push you out of the way. They actually chipped around if you want to know how they played, and they picked off a few little things that Sydney have done to them, and Geelong have done to them, and a few other things that have done to them. So it's good coaching and well trained and good execution because the Tigers don't play well with that stuff.
Sydney can really expose Richmond in that early win of the season at the MCG.
Absolutely.
A lot of teams would attack Richmond by getting the ball in as quickly as they can in their forward 50, and Richmond used to just love that. They just used to eat up intercept marks.
Yeah.
Now, getting the ball past centre, getting deeper inside 50s are what teams really focus on. That launch area comes from 70 metres out rather than 90 metres out. So you see now Vlosten a lot of the time, he's second-guessing himself, whereas in the past he just goes. Grimes, he would just go. So they're in a tricky spot. When you look at the Tigers, in the past, that forward pressure that you talk about, Sellers, has been Castagna, Rioli, and probably Bolton. Now, Bolton plays a lot more through the midfield now. So it's Jake Arts that's down there a lot in that forward 50. He doesn't chase the tackle. They don't have those forward half turnovers that they've had previously. 64 inside 50s is a lot. You know, Richmond like to keep the opposition inside 50s under 50.
I'll give you a bit of mail. 10-7. The Suns' way inside 50 tackles. Yeah. So 7 tackles for them in the inside 50 is pathetic.
Well, not with the way, because
with Lynch, you know.
It's a hallmark of their game.
Yeah, that's it. That's their game.
That's their game.
Keep it in the forward line.
Like, don't confuse Richmond's system with being complicated. it's a very uncomplicated system. It's a very uncomplicated system.
Suns win by 10 points, 10-17, 77 over Richmond, 10-7, 67. Mikey in Bendigo off the SMS, a good night. Richmond lose and the Storm win to full-time in the NRL as well. It was lopsided. Melbourne Storm 46, Sydney Roosters 0. So an unusual scoreline there. But it's all about the Suns here, a 10-point win over Richmond. Ben King was sensational. He kicked 4 up front, the 20-year-old, to give him 38 for the year, and he joins us on Grandstand AFL. Ben, congratulations and thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
How does that feel?
Yeah, it's a really special feeling. We feel like it's been building for some time, and to see it eventuate in a win, yeah, it's really special.
Stuart Dew brought you all in straight after the team song. What was the message there?
I guess just to celebrate the moment. We know we can dish up, and we just showed that we can match it with one of the best teams in the comp, so we just got to draw off that going forward.
Ben, who's next for you? The chicken
we've got GWS.
Well, that'll be a good one to test yourself again. If you can back up with a similar type of effort and collective effort. And the way you moved the ball into the forward line, which was low and hard and chipped around them, was really good.
Yeah, it was good. I think our ball movement definitely flowed off our contest. So, hopefully we can pick that up and keep going forward.
You out-tackled them. You out-contested them. You did everything to them. Be proud of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben, I'm just interested after the North Melbourne game. What was said? Who took control of the situation? Because it was disappointing in Tasmania last week, and there's questions being thrown at the club, left, right, and centre. You know, what did the club what does the Gold Coast Football Club actually stand for? Who took control? Was it player driven or was it coach driven?
I guess it was both. We came together, and I think we stripped back a little bit, a bit of the game plan, and just said, we need to really nail our contest, and if we want it more, then that'll give us a good shot at winning the game. So I think we really showed that tonight. It was a simple style of football, but we really cracked in.
That forward line is yours now. You look the way we've watched you a number of weeks now. You've nearly kicked 40 goals for the season. It's yours. Do you feel like that now, even at your young age, that it is your forward line? It is your forward line to control?
I guess so, but I've got so much great support around me. The senior boys like Sexton and Sammy Day really look after me, and also our young boys, our smalls coming through, are a pleasure to play with. So, we're just really building synergy up forward.
What do you think you're missing, Ben, as a group at the moment? We obviously you went through the spotlight over the last 3 weeks or so in the lead up to the North Melbourne game. Post that, and you got a lot of focus, particularly from the national media. What is it, do you think, that your main focus area needs to be with still 7 games to go in the season?
I think for the rest of the year, it'll just be consistency. With a game like tonight, we've proven that we could do it against one of the best teams. So we know we've got it in us, and now we just need to find that recipe and be consistent.
Ben, it's Matt Clinch here. I'm interested in a bit more in your personal journey. 25 goals last season, your third year in the AFL competition. What have you tried to take into this year as your main focus, and I guess what we're seeing a little bit on the park in front of us?
I guess just my forward craft. I think I'll always be working on that, and my ability to use my body to win the ball and put myself in a good position. So, I'm still pretty light on and skinny. So, the better I can use my body at a young age, the better set up I'll be. So that's my main focus.
And is the speed of the game sort of helped your game style a little bit? We can see that contested marking is improved, and no doubt in a few more years you'll have a bit more size, but it feels like the changes of the game have allowed key position players like yourself and like Max and Harry Mackay to really utilise that full forward position.
Yeah, exactly right. And even the way we moved the ball tonight, we moved it quick, we cut through the middle, so that gives me a really good opportunity to use my movement.
Ben King kicked 4 tonight. The Suns winners by 10 points over Richmond. Ben, the week, obviously last year you played so much of the year at home, given that the Gold Coast were really the host city for the AFL throughout the majority of season 2020. This week you had some disruption when it looked like the game was going to be at Carrara tonight. Instead, you're down in Melbourne last minute. You're here for an indefinite period of time. I guess, what was that week like? When did you first get the phone call, and can you talk us through some of the logistics?
It was a bit chaotic, to be honest. We sort of got a phone call, and within a couple of hours we were at the airport. So, But like last year, we were really lucky and really fortunate that we got to stay at home for most of the year. So as a club, we just embraced it. And I think all the boys have done a really good job of that.
So what have you been able to do during the week? Are you able to go to mum and dad's house, stay at mum and dad's house if you want, or have you been still under some sort of restrictions in your hotel?
We're living pretty freely, to be honest, but I haven't been home yet. I haven't to see mum and dad, so hopefully this weekend I'll be able to get back there and see them.
Ben, have you actually put on some weight in this season?
Yeah, I have. I was lucky enough to put on 3 or 4 kilos on the off season, so hopefully just keep chipping away as the years go, and I'll just keep getting heavier.
I could do that in a meal. No, but you know what I mean? Like you are coming up against some big boys, and you need to get yourself fitter, tougher, stronger.
Yeah, for sure. That's my main focus every off season.
Well
so, yeah,
you've been very good. Well done. Done a great job.
Sensational tonight, Ben. Congratulations to you and all the Suns lads. So we look forward to seeing you against the Giants next week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Ben King with 4 tonight, the Suns winners over Richmond. So the two-time reigning defending premiers, the Richmond Football Club, all of a sudden have lost 3 in a row either side of their bye. That 4-point loss to West Coast. They kicked 2 goals against the Saints, and now a 10-point defeat here. You're right off from Sellers. It feels like the national conversation has very much been, can they still win the flag from the lower end of the top 8? And now the conversation's very much,
can they make the 8?
Can they make the 8?
Yeah. Well, they're under 50% win-loss ratio, okay? Tell me who's won a premiership doing that. No one can. And the signs were there early-ish. When we watched the Sydney game, Rama, and they got chipped through by the young kids on that Sydney side, I went, this is not the side. They would have bashed them in the early days. When they were back playing at their absolute best, they would have pushed and shoved those blokes away and bashed them up and pushed them away and played that chaos game, and they didn't. They just let them do what they had to do, and they were embarrassed, I reckon. I thought they'd be embarrassed by that, by a young side knocking them over. But it just continued on.
So now it's Fremantle, GWS, Essendon again. Now St Kilda can go equal with Richmond on 28 points, but their percentage is horrible, obviously, from those early season defeats. It's, there's 3, maybe 4 teams that are going to push.
Get a chance.
Push the Tigers.
Next 4 for the Tigers. They play Collingwood at the MCG next week, then Brisbane and Geelong, both at the MCG, and then Fremantle in round 20. That game's scheduled for Perth Stadium. And, 4 weeks is a long time. You'd expect the game will be played in Perth. Those last 3 in particular are big games.
So, Rama, what does he do? What does he do now? Because he knows that they're falling. He knows that they're in trouble. He knows that there's drama. Does he drop a few? Does he get them going?
You know this as well as I, Sellers.
Yeah.
A coach has got probably 3 or 4 good sprays in a year.
Yep.
Otherwise, if it's more than that, it loses its effect.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Does he?
You would have got more than 4 sprays a year, wouldn't you?
From Sheets? Yeah. Oh, once a week. But does he tear strips off them now? In the rooms?
I don't know.
Well,
society's changed for me.
I know.
I know. Society for me has just got so soft in this area that you get bruised if someone tells you something.
But how does he get a response out of the team? Now, a lot of what Richmond do is player driven. It's player driven. Okay, so one personnel has got to come back still.
See, they've got playing blokes. They're playing blokes who aren't fit. That's the part that gets me. They can't even finish a game. They don't last a quarter, and they expect them to play. That's not right.
My opinion right now is because of the injuries, they're lacking the midfield depth.
Of course
they can't get the numbers through that they usually get through. So when they get those numbers through, that's when their high pressure game's at its best, because there's just constant pressure on the ball. When you don't get your numbers through, you can see fatigue sets in. And I reckon about 4 or 5 times, Richmond never allow this, but the ball went through the centre corridor tonight with the Suns.
Of course.
They're so good at protecting. They're so good at pushing teams wide. But once you whip it through the centre, very, very hard to defend. And I said this before, clubs are just attacking Richmond's defence.
They're a burst team at best, Richmond. They have bursts in quarters, and they throw the best they can, and then the opposition have their crack at them, and it's whether they can capitalise on it. Interesting, I mean, the matches of the round, Essendon have got Geelong, GWS have got Melbourne, Freo have got Carlton.
Good round, isn't it?
I mean, St Kilda have got Collingwood, Second game under Robert Harvey. The Tigers will watch all those games over the weekend, hoping none of them win and everything stays as it was. Like it.
Well, you know
what?
You know what? Actually, I think it'd be better off if they're not in the 8 at the end. That might give them
the spurt.
Hey, guys, in the WhatsApp group, get the training Monday and let's go.
Yeah, get the gloves out. And
Because
I agree.
Because if those teams lose and they just sit in the 8 again, it's like, we're okay still.
Ian in Bendigo, a lack of discipline and respect from the top is filtering through the Tigers. Glenn from Russell Island was out squidding at three-quarter time, but bolted home to watch the last quarter with with your call over the top. Great win for the local team. Of course, Suns home game. Tigers too patchy, too lazy, tackle shy and unintelligent. Love seeing the pompous Premier get done. That's from Glenn, who's a Cats fan. And hi, ABC callers, please don't downgrade the Suns win. The Tigers have been off the boil for the last month.
I'll agree with you.
I don't think Grammer can give them more praise. He thought that was the best win the Suns have had.
I think it was.
Yeah.
For everything they've been through on the road, kicked out of the Gold Coast, taking on the reigning premiers on a Thursday night, limited prep.
I have no idea why that text would come through, because did we downgrade them?
I thought we gave the first 10 minutes of the post-game to them. We spoke to Ben King for a nice 5-minute chat and we just got on to the Tigers.
The point is, in the end, I couldn't barrack any harder, could you?
I'm sure there was plenty of neutral fans watching tonight who were happy to see the Gold Coast Suns win.
Yeah, it was great.
You want the underdog to prevail.
Talking about the burst stuff, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Is what teams that are coming to the end of their reign is they think they can play in burst and that's going to be good enough to win games.
It's the same as fading champion players.
Yeah.
You look at someone like Kobe Bryant, his last game ever, he drops, 70-something. But you can't, it's trying to do it every week. Back up one after another.
That's the key. And that's why it hurts you. That's why because every time they play each other, every time someone plays Richmond now, they test them. Yeah. And they push them and they shove them. In the end, you get weary. And they're weary, I can tell you.
Might just have a listen to Stewie Dew here as well, of course, the coach of the Gold Coast Suns, and have a look ahead to the remainder of the week. A 10-point win for the Suns over Richmond. This is Grandstand AFL. Here's a little of Stewie Dew, the coach of the Suns.
Stuart, you've had obviously a few wins over the journey with the Suns, but where does that one rank in terms of enjoyment and just pride, I guess?
Obviously proud of the group. So I think that's the first thing. Really proud of the way they play. We came with a plan. We've been trying to work on that particular brand for a while, and we've seen it at different parts this year, but that was probably the most complete for this year, certainly. So to execute that, not under or overreact to I guess the last 3 weeks, which we know have been disappointing, but I think we held our nerve. We've been really confident in our process and won some critical contests tonight. So I think the overwhelming thing is happy for the playing group. They're really connected, and for them to feel that is the best thing.
Given the chaos of the last week or so, this game was supposed to be up at Metricon. It's come down here. You've got a fairly young group, obviously. For them to handle that and show quite a bit of maturity against the best team of the last 5 years, just about, is that sort of another real sort of source of pride for you?
Well, I guess it's the reality, isn't it, for the whole competition? We just got to be aware that we're really lucky. We're lucky anyway to be involved in such a great game. So we had a practice run, very similar back in, I think it was round 3 versus Adelaide on the Tuesday. We got the call. We got a few more hours notice, but we did have a practice run. So we were well versed and prepared. And I think that showed. But it shows also that if you're willing to get yourself ready to go at the start of a game, regardless of what's happened in the previous few days, it's a professional output.
Stuart, how pleased were you that the guys were able to handle the challenge that Richmond puts you in that last quarter? They got in front and you're able to, weather that challenge.
Yeah, it's reward for effort because we've been training the same themes. We know we've been, a little bit inconsistent in the contest. Our ball movement has been quite stagnant. We lost, let's be honest, we lost a little bit of confidence, but I think our training form hasn't wavered, and that's a lesson for our players. keep the training standards high and keep showing up, and then it'll turn. But pleasingly, I think it was in the first 3 quarters we scored the first goal and at least the last. So that's been an area where we've started quarters well, but the 20 minutes plus has been an issue. But we showed some real grit and fight tonight. So that's, I guess from our point of view, that was really pleasing.
So Stuart Dew now in 76 games in charge, 17 wins, 58 losses and 1 draw. And as Adam Ramanaska said, the best one yet under his reign. The Suns get themselves to 5-10. They snap a 3-game losing sequence. Meanwhile, for Richmond, they've lost 3 on the bounce. They've got Collingwood next week. The Suns play the Giants. The votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year.
Yep.
Mark McClure.
I gave one to Ben King. You've got to win the game in the midfield, and you've got to win it with a tall forward. And I mean, Lynch kicked 5, but I think this kid's going to be something special with 4. They go to him all the time. He marks, he gets in front. I like the way he gets in front of his opponent. He's hard to beat. I loved his game. I gave 2 to David Swallow. He'd been a captain of this football club for a long time. I thought he played tremendous in the middle and up forward as well. His work rate was enormous, and he had 6 contested possessions, 17 under. He had 21 possessions, kicked a goal. His tackle count was 7. He's huge clearance work as well. So for mine, I think that this bloke is a good leader, and you're sticking with Took Miller, who I gave 3 to. Took Miller's game was 36 possessions. 15 contested possessions, 7 tackles, clearances all over the place, 6 or 7 clearances through the middle of the ground. It was enormous. He got 141 points. It was a great game, and he should be an All-Australian this year. Took Miller, he's a star.
So the votes, round them up, 1 to King.
Yeah, 2 to Swallow.
2 to Swallow.
And 3 to, didn't you listen?
3 to
Took Miller.
3 to Miller.
You didn't listen, did you?
I'm never going to interfere, but geez, Jack Lacosis must have been unlucky.
I agree.
Just missed out.
Just missed out. But you can't fit 4 into 3.
8 of the 9
Don't
games.
know if you know that one.
8 of the 9 games in Victoria this weekend. Just repeating that Adelaide-Brisbane game will go ahead at Adelaide Oval Saturday twilight as scheduled. Tomorrow night, of course, it's Friday night footy. You can join us again on Grandstand AFL for all of that. Down the highway, it's Geelong and Essendon. Thanks to our team here, to Bridget back in the studio, to Stu Baker, Tim Hodges, to Sellers, to Rammer, to Clinchy. Signing off from Docklands, round 16 underway. The Suns, big winners by 10 over the reigning champs.
On ABC TV and iView, Courtney Act asks, who are our dynamic change makers?
Welcome to 1+1. I'm Courtney Act.
Talking to Mitch Tambo, Thomas King, Lisa Origlasso, Oweng Chwal, and that's what I reckon.
I want to change people's lives.
To find out what drives them to seek a better world for all.
I don't look like the stereotypical blackfellas.
I'm pansexual. Same.
Courtney Act's 1+1. This Monday night on ABC TV and streaming on iView.
ABC Sport Digital Radio, your home of NRL.
Taken by Kahu. Both men collide heavily. Frizzell is hurt. Kahu's hurt. Kahu now stands, but Tyson Frizzell looks in a world of pain. And the oxygen's taken out of the venue. Oh, he's standing up, which is great.
Not quite standing up.
What you're hearing in that moment, in round 1 of this year's NRL season, is St George Illawarra forward Tyson Frizzell sustaining a ruptured testicle. It happens in the other footy codes too. Former AFL ruckman Will Minson is now ruck coach at the North Melbourne Footy Club and says blunt scrotal injuries do happen in the AFL.
The gentleman that I was coaching lost a testicle, so that's a very real risk. I know of another guy that he had an issue bouncing the ball, had bounced up awkwardly, and he missed a couple of weeks because something happened to his scrotum. I think he cut his scrotum or split his scrotum or something like that from a dodgy bounce of the ball, dare I say. But, occasionally someone will get kicked or trodden on or cut or something like that. Look, it's contact sport. You break bones, you puncture lungs,